Hey mystery fans! Get ready to activate your brain muscles and solve some pretty challenging mental puzzles. 4 girls, Lucy, Serena, Amy, and Kate, all claim to be mermaids who've taken on human form to walk along the shore. They're all gorgeous, but one of them is only pretending to be a mermaid. Who is it? It must be Lucy. She has leaves growing on her back, and it's a symbol of land, not sea. Real mermaids wouldn't have plant traits on them, as it would show they don't belong in the ocean. At a school reunion, 3 old friends, Cindy, Bob, and Michael, are bragging about how their lives have changed. Cindy says, "I married a millionaire and now live in the Maldives." Bob boasts, "I'm a pilot now, flying all over the world." Michael brags, "I became a developer and built my own app. Now I work for myself." But one of them is clearly lying. A small detail gives them away. Bob is lying. He claims to be a pilot, but he has a full beard. Commercial pilots must be clean-shaven because facial hair can prevent oxygen masks from sealing properly in emergencies. A train passenger, Miss Smith, reported that someone had stolen her suitcase. Police questioned 3 fellow travelers. Mr. Green said he was wearing headphones the whole time. Mrs. Chu claimed she was enjoying the landscape out the window the entire trip. Miss Jones said she was dozing off, but her suitcase was definitely next to her. But the officer noticed one important detail. Who's lying here? Mrs. Chu is lying. They were traveling at night and it was pitch dark outside. There was nothing to look at through the window. A seamstress has a 60-foot roll of fabric. Every day she cuts 10 feet off. On which day will she make the final cut? Rely not only on math, but also on logic for this one. She'll make the final cut on the 5th day, because she only needs to make 5 cuts to divide the roll into 6 pieces of 10 feet each. You're in a room with 3 switches. All of them are currently off. Each switch corresponds to one of the 3 light bulbs in the next room. You're only allowed to enter the bulb room once. How can you figure out which switch controls which bulb? You gotta turn on the first switch and wait a few minutes. Then turn it off and quickly turn on the second switch. Now enter the room with the bulbs. The bulb that is on corresponds to the second switch. The bulb that is off but warm corresponds to the first switch. The bulb that is off and cold corresponds to the third switch. A grandmother, 2 mothers, and 2 daughters went for a walk in the park and decided to buy 1 ice cream cone for each of them, but they only bought 3 ice creams. How is that possible? Well, there are only 3 people. One is the grandmother. Let's say her name is Emma. Her daughter is Anne, and Anne's daughter is Stacy. Emma and Anne are the 2 mothers. Anne and Stacy are the 2 daughters, and Emma is the grandmother. That makes 3 people total, even though there are 1 grandmother, 2 mothers, and 2 daughters. A popular singer lives in a cool circular house with expensive works of art. One day, she notices the most expensive painting from her collection is missing. The police question all the suspects. The gardener says he was busy taking care of the flowers. The cook tells the police she was making a cake. The maid claims she was vacuuming the furniture and dusting the corners. Who's lying? The singer lives in a circular house. The maid couldn't be dusting corners, so she had something to hide. One woman crosses the state border every day on a bike with 2 huge bags. After a week, the border guards get interested in her. They search her luggage, but it turns out to be just old clothes. What is she smuggling across the border then? Well, she clearly isn't smuggling works of art or jewelry, but bikes. Someone pushed the actress who plays the leading role in a popular theater play down the stairs. Luckily, she survived, but she won't be able to perform. She calls the police, and they suspect it was one of the actresses who plays the supporting roles. Can you help them figure out who it was? The actress grabbed the person who pushed her and ripped off a part of their costume. This girl's costume is missing a piece, so it must have been her. The police got an anonymous email about an upcoming heist in one of New York's museums. To stop it from happening, they need to figure out at least the month the heist is planned for. Try to help the police and figure it out using a secret code. In this rebus, the jar stands for J, the umbrella stands for U, the lion is for L, and the yellow heart stands for Y. The heist is planned for July. The paparazzi are after a supermodel who's trying to keep her personal life a secret. She even planted cacti all around her house so no one can approach. But one photographer still manages to get close and snap some photos. The model wants to sue them, but how can the police tell who did it? This guy on the left has scratches left by cacti all over his body. It must have been him. A luxurious hotel got an anonymous call. There's an imposter among the guests who plans to rob others staying at the hotel. If this happens, it will ruin the reputation of the entire hotel chain. You can save the hotel from going bankrupt if you figure out who the imposter is. All hotel guests have the same bracelet, and only this guy on the right doesn't have one. He must be the imposter. A group of friends is hiking and sleeping in a tent at night. When they wake up in the morning, they noticed someone has stolen all their food supplies that were outside. They are miles away from other people. Can you help them solve the mystery? See those footprints over there? Must have been a bear. So the best they can do is forget about the stolen food and find a safer place to camp. On the 1st of July, someone stole a really important document from the office of a successful company. The boss was away, so they only noticed it several days later and figured out when it happened from the CCTV camera footage. The main suspect, who was the head of the competing company, said she was on vacation and even showed a plane ticket. But the police didn't believe her. Why? The ticket is for June 31st, and that date simply doesn't exist. Jennifer was riding her bicycle when someone sitting at a coffee shop terrace threw a disposable cup with cold coffee inside right in her face. There were 3 girls inside at that moment, and she wanted to know who it was. Can you help her figure it out? This girl is wearing a bright purple lipstick, and it's the same color as the mark on the cup that she threw at Jennifer. Roxy was alone at her parents' house and ordered a big pizza. When the courier arrived, she got really scared and called the police. What made her do it? The delivery guy was from a sushi place. She decided he was trying to break into the house. Nancy went on vacation and left her laptop password for her colleagues. But she loves riddles a lot, so she didn't tell them exactly where to find it. It must be a 4-digit code. Will you help them figure it out? This postcard with dice on it isn't there for nothing. You need to write down all the numbers. Yes, it's 7235. How many riddles did you manage to solve without pausing the video? Let's talk about it in the comments section. 3 tourists entered an ancient pyramid and found a chamber with an inscription. What does not honor the pharaoh shall remain here forever. They saw 3 buttons with the following symbols: the sun, a scarab, and an ankh. There was also a warning that only one button opens the passage, and the others trigger dangerous traps. One of the tourists immediately pressed the correct button. Which button was it and why did they choose it? It was the ankh. In ancient Egypt, it symbolized life, so it's the most logical choice. A golden amulet went missing during an excavation. Anna claimed she spent the day photographing wall paintings. Jack said he'd been studying the treasure map inside the tent. And Lena said she had been sketching outdoors. But the tracks in the sand led from the tent to the pyramid and back, and those were deep, narrow footprints with small heels. Do you know who took the amulet? It was Lena. She was the only one outside, and the small-heeled footprints point to her. An archaeologist descended into a lost Mayan pyramid and discovered 3 ancient masks. Which mask should he choose to find the treasure and stay alive? He should pick the jade mask with the symbols of the storm god. The Mayans trusted him with their gold and secrets. As for the rest of the masks, the golden snake is a symbol of the underworld, and it can lure one to their demise. And the jaguar is associated with aggression and night hunting, so it can lead Nathan to danger. 3 archaeologists, Dr. Laura, Mr. Thomas, and Professor Blake, are exploring a lost Mayan temple. They discover 3 stone tablets with mysterious symbols and inscriptions. Dr. Laura chooses the mirror-shaped symbol. Mr. Thomas touches the carved serpent's eye. Professor Blake steps onto the stone with a crescent moon. Who is in danger? Professor Blake. He stepped on the moon symbol, which warns he won't return. Mr. Thomas awakens the curse, and only Dr. Laura chooses wisely. She unlocks the path to the treasure. Jack finds an ancient Mayan scroll with an engraved message. Where the sun bids farewell to the day, where the river coils like a snake, where moss always hides in the shade, there the pyramid's peak is hidden from view. Jack stands by the river with a dense forest in the north, rocky cliffs and the blazing sun in the south, a clear path in the east, and a river surrounded by trees in the west. Where should Jack go? West. That's where the sun bids farewell, or sets. The river curves like a snake, and the trees provide shade. Alex arrives at a remote jungle village, hoping to find the lost ruins of an ancient Mayan city. 3 people offer to guide him. A pretty woman wants $500. An old man with a donkey wants $50. A cheerful guy in a Hawaiian shirt promises to guide Alex for $300. Only one of these people is a true guide. Can you tell who? The real guide is the old man with the donkey. He asks for a reasonable price. He's not flashy or pushy, and he has a map and a means of transportation. Justin was an archaeologist who explored ancient pyramids. One day, something went wrong, and he ended up locked in a tiny room deep underground. There was only one other door in the room, but it was locked. To open it, the guy had to solve a riddle. After mulling it over for some time, Justin guessed what it meant. Can you? The answer is, try to understand. Once, something went wrong. Yep, again. And he got locked in a tiny room. To open the door, the guy had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. What code should Justin enter? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So, the code is 5139. There are 3 doors in front of you, with snakes, scorpions, and scarabs behind each of them respectively. You need to choose the safest one. Hopefully you know that scarabs are harmless, so you should pick the 3rd door. One day, Julia fell asleep in the park. She woke up in a strange room with 3 doors. There were random objects lying around: bricks, empty bottles, ropes, and even a barrel. There was also a note on the wall. Behind one of these doors, there's a staircase that leads to freedom. You don't want to know what's lurking behind the other 2 doors. Julia got really frightened, but she managed to get out soon. What did she do? She dragged the barrel toward each of the doors, climbed on it, and checked whether the staircase was there. Once she spotted it, she was free. Look at these people attentively. Who do you think is in greater danger? The lion won't necessarily attack the man, of course, if he doesn't provoke the animal. If the guy tries his best to look unthreatening, the lion might simply ignore him. But the snake can easily tighten its grip, which can end very badly for this girl. Mr. Smart's wife went missing. A detective came to investigate this case. Mr. Smart told her that the last time he'd seen his wife had been in the morning. She was having breakfast. When he returned home at 6 p.m., her breakfast was still on the table, but she had disappeared. After hearing the man's story, the detective immediately arrested Mr. Smart. Why did he do so? When the detective arrived at the Smart's house, the breakfast on the table was still steaming. This means Mr. Smart had set up the scene right before he called the police. Do you see anything suspicious in this room? I'll help you. One object is haunted. A small hint: pay attention to those balloons left after a small party. Have you noticed that the red balloon has a pin in it? But strangely, even pierced, the balloon remains intact, and the air is still inside. It must be the haunted object. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal, but one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. A renowned chemist disappeared right from his lab. There was no evidence except a piece of paper lying on his desk. It had the names of 5 elements: nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum, and sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people had visited the chemist that day: his sister Laura, his colleague Nicholas, and his wife Tessa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals is a clue. Their abbreviations spell out the name Nicholas.
Hey, are you ready for a new portion of mind-bending riddles? Crank up your logic and attention, and let's go! 3 friends, Lindsay, Carol, and Jane, were collecting seashells on the beach to make necklaces. Each chose the most beautiful shell to place in the center of her creation. Lindsay picked thin white shells that look like pearly spirals. Carol chose flat pink shells that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. Jane decided to add a shell with beige net-like patterns, a glossy surface, and a small opening at the base. Now, one of the girls is in serious danger. Can you guess who? Look at that information board at the beach. Jane added a geographic cone shell to her necklace. It has venom that is fatal to humans. Uh-oh. Carrie, Samantha, and Ben were together when Carrie's phone went missing. Of course, none of them admits they took the phone. The security checks the CCTV cameras, and you can also take a look. Who do you think took the phone? Obviously, it wasn't Carrie. Samantha had tight jeans with no pockets, so she had no place to hide it. Ben had no bag at all, but a hoodie with large pockets, the perfect place to stash a phone. So Ben must have been the thief. Today's virtual meeting of the Cat Lovers Club has 3 new members. They're proudly showing off their pets. Aw, so cute! But one of them is lying. They're not a real cat lover. Who's the imposter? Look closely. Behind the guy in the center, there's a dog peeking out from the doorway. This means he's the imposter. Gary, Nick, and Ben share an office fridge. One day, someone put a piece of unwrapped fish in it, and now the whole fridge smells terrible. Each of the guys has an excuse. Who most likely put the fish in the fridge? Gary is vegan and probably telling the truth. Ben mentioned strawberries, and the wrapper in the trash supports that. Nick claimed he never opened the fridge, yet he had a container leaking fishy water. Meaning he lied and most likely put the fish inside. 3 friends, Jamie, Linda, and Sue, posted on their stories that they're heading to work. But one of them actually decided to ditch work and go shopping instead. Take a look at their social media to see who's lying online. It's Sue. She posted a photo on her way to work, but the reflection gave her away. She's holding a shopping bag, not a laptop, so she's just pretending to be working today. A group of tourists is going camping with a local guide on a remote island. It's so wild, it has no internet connection whatsoever. When everyone wakes up in the morning, one of the tourists notices his expensive camera is gone. He asks the guide about it, and he says he didn't see anything suspicious as he was watching YouTube videos all night. The tourist realizes the guide has something to do with the disappearance of the camera. How? Well, there's no network signal or Wi-Fi connection. It's impossible that the guide was watching YouTube videos all night. Lady Rose, a wealthy heiress, was traveling by a high-speed train. She had a box full of jewels with her. After the train left one of the tunnels, Lady Rose noticed that her box was missing. There were 3 other passengers in the train car. Doug said he had just lost his job and didn't care about anything happening around. Mia said she hadn't seen anything, as her eyes had been tearing from all the fumes coming from the train. Steve said that he had bought his favorite author's new novel and was busy reading. So, who took the box? It was Mia. Modern high-speed trains are electric and don't produce any fumes. Let's test your attention a bit. Lisa is having dinner and watching TV after work as usual. Can you spot anything odd in this picture? The mirror reflects a completely different TV program. Alice and Sam are spending their honeymoon at a perfect beach resort. Yet, something is off here. Can you see it? There are oranges growing on this palm tree. They'd better move away from it just in case. Stan ordered red roses for his wife's birthday. The delivery guy arrives, and his wife is over the moon, but Stan is really mad. What happened there? Well, these flowers are definitely not red roses, and the card says, Love M. So, there is some mysterious M on the horizon. A truck hit a man and he was lying on the ground unconscious. A detective who was there by accident rushed to the nearest shop to get some water for the man. When he got back, a passerby told him the man hadn't come to his senses. After looking at the scene for a couple of seconds, the detective told the passerby to return everything he had taken from the man. Why did he say so? When he first saw the man, his jacket was buttoned up. Now it's open and the pockets are inside out. A fancy watch designer presented their new collection at a penthouse party. All the watches were made of gold and platinum and were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. During the party, someone stole the most expensive platinum watch with diamonds. No one left the penthouse, so the robber must still be among the guests. Can you find them? Look, this lady in the corner has a really unusual necklace. It's a platinum watch that looks exactly like the one in the photo in the middle of the room. The lady was hoping no one would look for it on her neck. Nina came back from her lunch break and saw that someone had spilled coffee all over the papers that took her forever to finish. Her work bestie decided to help and ask others what they had been doing during lunch break. Drew and Cam said they had gone out to try the new Italian place. Liz was busy watering the plants in the office, and Sammy said he had been talking to his boyfriend on the phone. Can you tell who's lying here? It was Liz. There isn't a single plant in the office. Diana is a thief, and she broke into the house of a rich actress who showed her jewels in one of her interviews. Diana was after just one thing, a huge emerald. She grabbed it and ran out of the house. The guards were already waiting for her, but they found no emerald and had to let her go. Once Diana got home, the emerald was already waiting for her there. How is this possible? Diana came with her pet parrot. She trained the parrot to carry the little bag with the emerald and return home. So the parrot was waiting for her there. A famous businessman disappeared right from his home one afternoon. The police arrived and questioned everyone who was in the house at that time. The cook said she had been preparing dinner and hadn't left the kitchen. The maid claimed she had been cleaning the dining room after the businessman and his wife had had lunch. And the wife said that after lunch, she had been sunbathing and swimming in the pool. The detective immediately figured out who was behind the man's disappearance. Can you do the same? It was the wife. Look outside, it's winter, and there's no water in the swimming pool. Lisa's sister asked for help with cleaning the house, but Lisa said she couldn't make it as she had to prepare for her big and important math exam. Her sister accepted it, but once she opened Lisa's room to offer her snacks, she got really mad and stopped talking to her. Why? Well, the book Lisa was reading had nothing to do with math. She must have grabbed the closest book as soon as she heard her sister's footsteps and pretended she was studying. Nancy is traveling around Greece. A local guy offers her to visit an exclusive gallery with ancient statues no one else has seen before. She agrees, but then quickly realizes he's a scammer. How? This statue has a mobile phone, and this one is wearing headphones. They might be unique, but ancient? I don't think so. So, which of these puzzles was the hardest for you? Please share in the comment section.
Hey riddle lovers, ready to take your brain for a marathon? Well then, let's go. Two friends meet in the street. Ben says he's heading to house number 23. Jeremy says he's going to visit his friend who lives in house number 7. Can you tell which one is Ben and which one is Jeremy? Ben is the one wearing the cap. Look closely at the house number. It's 19. If you walk from the beginning of the street, odd number houses are on the left side. The guy in the cap is walking in the direction of large numbers, so he must be Ben. In the evening, a woman said, "My cat has disappeared." The window was closed, the door was locked, no signs, no sounds. Where did the cat go if the house was completely closed? The cat never really left. It crawled into a slightly open drawer of the dresser and fell asleep there. The woman didn't check it, but no one can trick you. A tiny tip of the cat's tail is sticking out. And while we're on the topic of pets, here's a fashion dilemma. If dogs wore pants, would they wear them like this or like this? The more accurate version would be the one on the right, on the hind legs, just like humans. That's because pants are clothing for the lower part of the body, and in dogs, that means the hind legs. The front legs are more like arms than legs. You're in your cabin. You travel exactly 100 miles south. Then you see a bear. You travel exactly 100 miles east, and the bear runs away. You travel exactly 100 miles north, returning to your cabin. What color is the bear? The bear has to be white. This riddle only makes sense if your cabin is at the North Pole. Going 100 miles south, then 100 miles east, which doesn't change your latitude much at the pole, and then 100 miles north brings you back to the original position. Three friends are taking part in a high-fashion photo shoot, and each of them has carefully picked her outfit. But one of them is hiding a secret. She's pregnant. Can you figure out who's expecting just by spotting one little detail? must be the girl in the middle, the one wearing the pink heels with rhinestones. If you look closely, her right shoe is buckled on the last hole as if her foot has slightly swollen. Also, platform shoes offer more stability than stilettos. She must be trying to stay stylish while concealing her pregnancy. John has a small shop that sells socks. One day, he decided to attract more people and launched an advertisement: socks for free. Many people came there, but all the customers had to pay, even though the socks were free. Why? John would only give the left sock to his customers. The socks were good and people wanted to buy the second one. Who needs only one sock after all? Kelly works as a barista. This morning she dropped a cup full of coffee. Luckily, her white shirt wasn't stained, but it took a while to clean up the mess. How come? I never told you the coffee was liquid. There were coffee beans in the cup. They ended up right under the counter. Phil Adams, who didn't really like modern art, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Adams for what he did to them. How come? Phil was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. Angie put a coin into an empty bottle and plugged it tightly with a cork. Then she told her friend she'd take out the coin without breaking the bottle or taking out the cork. And she did it. Can you guess how? Angie just pushed the cork into the bottle and then shook it to make the coin fall out. Easy peasy. Mike was about to fail his exam, but the kind professor gave him one last chance. The guy had to arrange 4 9s to make them equal 100. He could use any math symbols. How can he do it? Mike activated all of his math skills and some common sense to figure out the answer. Lena and Tina are best friends, but recently they had a huge scandal. Lena is trying everything to make Tina forgive her. She sends her a strange coded message. What did Lena try to say? She wanted to say forgive in this unusual way. Doesn't look convincing enough to me. A dangerous criminal escaped and is headed to the airport to leave the country. The security knows he'll try to use a fake ID, so they check everyone thoroughly and find 3 main suspects. Can you guess which passport is fake out of these 3? Different countries have different rules, but I'm sure no one would let their citizens use a selfie with someone else's hand on their shoulder as a passport photo. So Jin Beam must have just made this fake passport. Mr. Focus often offers other people adventurous bets. This time, he said he could throw a ball and it would come back to him every time. He also said there would be no obstacle or wall that the ball could ricochet from. Other people think it's impossible and lose the bet. So what's the deal here? Mr. Focus throws the ball straight up. It obviously comes back to him every time. Nancy is taking part in a TV quiz where she can win 1 pound of pure gold. At the end of the show, the host brings her 3 large jars. Each of them has 1 pound of pure gold inside, but also some unpleasant surprises. The first jar has venomous spiders inside. The second one is full of acid. and the third one is filled with boiling hot water. Nancy can only use her hands to get the gold out, and she has 30 minutes to finish. Can you help her? She should choose the jar with hot water. It's gonna get almost lukewarm in half an hour. Michael is trapped in a room. It's slowly filling with water that's coming from a tap in the wall. There are no windows in the room and the door is blocked. Michael has a mop and a big bucket. What can he do to survive? Well, the only thing the guy needs to do is to turn off the tap to keep the water from coming. Sally invited all her friends to her favorite restaurant to celebrate her birthday. She got her dream present, a ring with a huge diamond. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. After several minutes of total confusion, the lights came back on, but Megan's ring was gone. Look at the picture to try to figure out who stole it. It was the waiter. Look at the glass he's holding. He put the ring inside, and now there's much more water in it. A group of students went to visit an art gallery that has paintings from famous artists from different countries. Half an hour into the excursion, an alarm went on as one of the students was trying to damage one of the paintings. Since they all have uniforms, it's impossible to tell who exactly just from the CCTV footage. 3 possible suspects all have their excuses. Ashley said, "I love the painting so much I texted my mom about it. Why would I damage it?" Dawn said, "I didn't stay long in that room as I wanted to see the ancient mammal bones." Steve said, "Professor, I was just following you." One of these students is lying, but who? Dawn is lying, as there can be no mammal bones in an art gallery with paintings. How many of these mind-twisting riddles did you manage to solve? Feel free to share in the comments below.
Sometimes, solving a riddle isn't just a fun brain exercise, it could save someone else's life. Let's see if you can make it. It's summertime and everyone's at the beach. But for one of these girls, the dream vacation could end in a tragedy. Can you tell who's in danger here? Although the second girl looks well equipped and prepared for anything, she's in dark water that could be dangerous. The first girl is in the shallow right next to the beach, so she can just run away or ask for help in case of danger. Okay, this time 2 guys are on vacation. They have completely different ideas of fun, so one is mountain skiing and the other one prefers surfing. Again, one of them is in real danger. Can you guess who? Well, that wave looks huge and scary, but it shouldn't be a problem for an experienced surfer. Meanwhile, screaming loudly in the mountains isn't the best idea though. It could start an avalanche. So the skiing guys should watch out. Leslie and Sam also have completely different ideas of fun. So Leslie is enjoying a beach day and Sam is exploring the forest. Which of the girls could be risking her life this very second? Now, unless a huge tsunami suddenly rolls in, Leslie is perfectly safe. Sam, on the other hand, has ignored the "Danger, do not enter" sign. Who knows what those plants could do to her? Ashley and Dana are having a spa day. Each of them orders drinks to relax even more after a long massage. But, oh no, one of them is about to get more than drinks, and it's not good. Who's in danger here? Ashley should be perfectly fine. The water is cold and the tray looks pretty stable. But Dana is about to get a hot tea shower on her uncovered back. And there's one more suspicious detail: an open tiny bottle with acids. Uh-oh. Tina and Scarlett want to go on a hot air balloon ride. The instructor offers to let them choose the balloon: a blue one, a green one, or a red one. Tina picks her favorite color, red, and Julie wants to go for the green one. Which of the girls is in danger? The color isn't that important when it comes to a hot air balloon. There are no sandbags in the red one, so Tina is about to risk her life. Hey, math fans! If you're tired of saving lives, this one's for you. How does a 9 become a 6 by adding one letter? Well, I tricked you. It's more about thinking outside the box in math. Put a letter S in front of the Roman numeral 9 and you'll get 6. See? Here comes another one. I add 5 to 9 and get 2. No mistake here, but what am I? If you add 9 days to 5 days, hey, you'll get 2 weeks. Ricky found money, a phone, and salted fish. But out of all this, he grabbed the salted fish and ran away. Strange choice. Can you guess what made him choose the fish? Well, Ricky is a cat and can't appreciate money or phones. Alright, cats are cute, but this one is about monkeys. In which month do they prefer to play baseball? Don't even try to find some logic here. It's all in the word itself. It's April, or more like April. Get it? Willie and Billy are twins, and they have the same tastes and like the same things. There's only one thing they don't share, and it's love for cats. By looking at their houses, can you guess which one of them loves cats? Willie has cat toys casually spread on the floor, and the wallpaper at his house is scratched at the bottom of the wall. So he's the cat lover. Lady Martha has a special talent. When people approach her at the fair one by one, she tells each of them something different. She tells the man pizza, the little girl ice cream, and the woman salmon bowl. What is Lady Martha's talent? She can see what other people have just eaten. That's one rare and weird special talent, I must say. Unless they're sloppy and spilled food on their shirts, like I do, then it's easy. All colleagues are bragging about their fun summer vacations. They all show photos and share stories. But one of them is obviously lying about their adventures. Can you guess who? Well, this guy definitely didn't visit Paris this summer. In his photo, the Eiffel Tower is in the middle of the desert, and it's actually in the center of Paris. You've got really bad Photoshop skills, my friend. Brittany checks into a hotel room and falls onto the bed. But suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and a group of clowns with dog balloons breaks in and makes her dance for them. When she sits on the bed, she sighs in relief. What just happened there? It's already light outside, and it was dark when Brittany was checking in. So all this was just a nightmare, although a very realistic one. It's a busy day at the coffee shop. Lucy, the waitress, comes up to one of the tables to pick up the mugs. Moments later, she's calling the police from the kitchen. Why? The girl at the table left a tiny message on the mug with her lipstick, saying SOS. Looks like her date turned out to be a dangerous person. Mrs. Green has a huge house and several helpers. One day, she calls the police and says one of her staff members must have stolen a large sum of money and her jewelry. The suspects are the gardener, the cook, and the laundry lady. Can you tell who stole the valuables? It must have been the laundry lady or someone who wanted to make it look like she did it. Look, there's money and jewelry inside the washing machine. Douglas is interviewing for his dream job. He's already passed a lot of tests, and now it's time for the final decisive challenge. The interviewer asks him to prove that the pen on the table doesn't exist, and he does it with just one question. But how? He asks the interviewer, "Excuse me, which pen are you talking about?" It's raining so hard that no one can see anything, and all traffic is stopped. Lightning flashes in the black sky, and people are running to safety. Everyone is soaked, but one man is lucky. Not a single hair on his head got wet. How is this possible? Well, the man is bald, so he has no hair on his head. You wake up inside a plane from a super loud engine. You don't remember getting in and don't know what's going on. You get up from your chair and notice there's no one else on the plane. You walk forward, look into the cockpit, and the pilots aren't there either. You decide to leave, open the emergency exit, and jump out of the plane. You land on the asphalt unharmed. How is this possible? Well, the plane wasn't flying anywhere. It was standing on the ground this whole time. Nina is taking exams to study at the most prestigious cooking school in the world. The final question is, what product will never be salty when you boil it, no matter how much salt you add? Please help Nina pass this uneasy exam. Well, it's an egg in the shell. No matter how much salt there is in the water, the boiled egg won't be salty. Someone locked 10 people in one room. A mechanical voice from the outside says that to get out of the room, you have to place an apple in such a way that everyone but one person can see it. Do you have any ideas how to do it? Put the apple on the head of one of the people, and it's done. Stacy loves traveling. Today she's flying to a new destination. There are just 3 flights in the next hour. One to Berlin, another one to Rome, and the third one to London. Can you guess where Stacy is going? She's headed to London. You can see she has a sticker from Berlin and a keychain from Rome on her suitcase, so she has already been to those cities. Wow, if you managed to solve all these riddles, congrats! You can handle any situation with your logic and wits. Now, this is a picture on the door of a restroom in a restaurant. What does this thing mean? Can you guess? It translates as "ladies first." In one of these school restroom stalls, a fugitive who escaped custody and disguised herself to blend in is hiding. But she's made some crucial mistakes. Can you figure out which one is the criminal, left or right? The criminal is in the right stall. At first glance, the person inside looks like your typical good girl. But if you take a closer look, you'll notice that there's no toilet paper inside the stall and the floor under her feet is spotlessly clean. It's almost like the scene has been staged. And most importantly, she has marks on her ankles from handcuffs. That's what gives her away. At 3 a.m., security cameras caught a person disguised as a patient walking out of a private clinic. There are 3 suspects. a man in a robe and sneakers, an elderly woman in pajamas and boots, and a woman with a head bandage wearing slippers. One of them is an escaped criminal. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the woman with the head bandage. Her bandage is clean and freshly wrapped, which probably means she put it on herself. Plus, who walks on asphalt in slippers unless they're trying to look like a patient? The morning surveillance footage shows 3 people entering the antique hall: a girl in a long green coat, a man wearing a t-shirt labeled security, and a guy with a camera. 1 minute later, the alarm goes off. Someone has stolen an ancient vase. Who is the thief? It's the guy with the camera. He's carrying a large camera bag too, which means the vase could easily be hidden inside. Besides, who else carries a camera like that in a museum? Someone tried to sabotage a restaurant's rating and replaced a regular dish with a spoiled one. The owner reviewed the security footage and saw that 3 people had entered the kitchen. They were a bartender wearing an apron, a chef with a tall white hat, and a waiter carrying a tray. One of them didn't even work at the restaurant. Can you spot the imposter? It's the bartender. His apron doesn't have the restaurant's logo, which means he brought it from somewhere else. He must be a rival, trying to ruin the restaurant's reputation and bring down its rating. At a scenic viewpoint, 3 people are standing: a girl with a map, a guy with a camera, and a man in a suit and dress shoes. Which of them is suspicious? The answer is quite obvious. The man in the suit looks suspicious. No real tourist hikes up hills in shiny leather shoes. He's clearly there for another reason. Ooh, suspicious. At a party in an elite gallery, famous actor James Bean suddenly felt unwell. Security footage shows 3 guests offering him drinks. The question is, who slipped him the poison? It's the woman in red. She's the only one holding the glass with her left hand, which means she could have secretly slipped poison from a locket ring on her right. Otherwise, why would she wear such a large ring on her pinky? Cheryl was reading a book, but she was careless and accidentally tore out pages 7, 8, 100, 101, 333, and 334. How many pages will she have to fix? Just 4. 7 and 8, as well as 33 and 34, are just different sides of one page. Sarah was invited to a party organized by her friend Sean. Sarah was worried there might be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, she was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she realized who the thief was. Have you figured it out too? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of his guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch is already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace is in that flower pot. See? Airport security guards are checking the luggage of 3 suspicious passengers. One of them is a robber on the run. Can you help the guards figure out which passenger is a criminal? The clown costume looks pretty innocent. It doesn't have a mask that covered the face, so it's unlikely that the person owning this suitcase is a robber. The lady shows her cash freely and openly, which probably means the money is legal. But this lady with an empty suitcase is pretty suspicious. Her suitcase probably has a double bottom, and she must be hiding something inside. Otherwise, why would she travel with an empty bag? You're checking in at a hotel, and the receptionist gives you a note. There are just 3 letters there, F, B, D. Can you figure out what your room number is? It's room 624. F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, B is the 2nd, and D is the 4th. While walking on a beach, Patricia found a watch in the sand. There were only 3 other people around. Look at them carefully and try to figure out who the watch belongs to. This guy's watch is in his jeans pocket. The strap is peeking out. The tan line on this girl's wrist doesn't match the shape of the watch. It means the watch belongs to this elderly man. You need to get out of a creepy house. There are lots of doors in front of you. They're numbered from 1 to 22. To choose the right door, you need to figure out the next number in this sequence. Can you do it? The right answer is 20. All these numbers are the only ones that don't have any other vowels but E. So you should open the door with the number 20 written on it. Brandon was patrolling the streets. While driving past his friend's house, he saw the front door open. Inside, he found his friend on the floor. After he was taken to a hospital, the officer went to question the neighbors. Julie said that she had been planting trees in her garden since early morning. Nathan explained that he had some problems with his car and had been in the garage all day long. And Patrick said that he had been watching a new episode of his favorite TV show. Which neighbor is lying? Nathan is. His hands and gloves are spotless. That wouldn't be possible if he had indeed been repairing his car. Someone stole a bag from an elderly lady walking in the park. The police have 3 suspects. John claims it isn't him because he's been busy jumping on a trampoline. Laura says she's been drinking fresh juice at the cafe. And Patrick says he's been selling ice cream. Can you understand who the thief is? It's John. His alibi is fake. The guy wouldn't have been allowed to get on the trampoline because of the age limit. See that note? Jonathan's friend went to explore a mysterious castle and got lost, so the man decided to sneak in and find him. He ended up in a large room with 3 doors. One of these doors led to a labyrinth. Another door was the exit, but if Jonathan went through it, he'd have to cross 3 moats to get out. And behind one of the doors was Jonathan's friend. Can you figure out which door Jonathan needs? The door handles are made of some shiny metal, and the only door with fingerprints is the one on the left. That's where Jonathan's friend is. A man was discovered unconscious at his desk, alone in the locked office. He was rushed to a hospital, and the police started investigating this case. The only clue was a sealed envelope on the man's desk. Have you figured out what happened? The envelope glue was poisoned, and when the man licked the envelope to seal it, he got sick.
Lisa has a 13-year-old daughter named Stephanie. She suspects her daughter created a secret Instagram account so she wouldn't find her. Lisa sees 3 usernames and immediately thinks, busted. Can you spot the teenager's secret account? It's option A. If you read it backward, it spells Stephanie, exactly her daughter's name. And that dot in the middle is just there as camouflage. 3 girls posted pics from their fancy bathtubs, all with the same caption: living the $1 million life. Morning starts with a golden bath. But here's the truth. Only 2 of them are actually rich. One's just faking it. So, who's the poser? This one right here. Look closely. Her magenta hair has visible roots. Total giveaway. If she were really loaded, that wouldn't be happening. Jack's totally into this girl. She finally agrees to go on a movie date with him, but there's a catch. He has to guess which movie she wants to watch. So, she sends him a Snapchat with these 3 emojis. Can you guess it? Of course, she wants to watch the iconic Breakfast at Tiffany's. Caleb, Brian, and Dennis are the top influencers from their cities. Caleb has 2 million followers. Brian has twice as many as Caleb. Dennis has the average number of followers between Caleb and Brian. Can you figure out how many followers Dennis has? To find that, we just add Caleb and Brian's followers together. 2 million plus 4 million equals 6 million. Now divide that by 2 to get the average. 3 million. So Dennis has 3 million followers. Not bad at all. Isabella hopped on her best friend's live stream. At first, everything looked normal. He was smiling and acting chill. But she could tell something was seriously wrong. What made Isabella so suspicious? Look at the name of the stream. Skeletons obey squirrels. It doesn't make any sense, unless it's a hidden message. Take the first letter of each word. It spells SOS. He's secretly asking for help. Amber just hit 10,000 followers on Instagram and wants to celebrate by throwing a party. She invites 2 followers who regularly comment on her posts. One of them leaves kind, supportive messages, but the other is actually a secret hater. Sophie gave her a bouquet of lilies and Mia gifted her a gold necklace. Can you tell who the hater is? It's Mia. You see, Amber is always covered in silver jewelry and her followers know she's allergic to gold, which means Mia isn't really a fan. She's just pretending to be. The day after her birthday, Kira posts a little challenge for her followers. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. Can you guess my birth date? Here's a clue. I was born on a day that's the same forwards and backwards. So, what's the answer? Well, Kira was born on February 2nd, 2020. 3 influencers post screenshots of their YouTube dashboards. Channel A, 1 million subscribers. Their latest video got 200 views and 30,000 comments. Channel B, 500,000 subscribers, and their last video got 10,000 views and 5,000 comments. Channel C, 50,000 subscribers. Their last video has 700,000 views, but only 10 likes. One of them clearly got their numbers wrong, but which one? Channel A's stats seem super off. A video can't have way more comments than views. That just doesn't add up. Matt posts a photo of his delicious homemade pizza, claiming it's fresh from his kitchen. But his friend notices something fishy. How can his friend tell Matt's faking it? Oh wait, there's a pizza box sticking out of that trash can. Matt didn't cook this, he ordered takeout. A famous YouTuber ends their short video with these two emojis. It's a hint about next week's content. Can you figure it out? Easy, it's gonna be an unboxing video. These three girls posted photos with the caption, "Bonjour Paris," but one of them is faking it. Can you tell who is not actually in France? Wait a second, is that a price sign in the background? It shows dollars, not euros. That can only mean one thing. She must be in the US. There are a dozen eggs in a carton. 12 people each take one egg, but somehow there's still one egg left in the carton. How? And the answer is, the last person took their egg along with the carton. Are you good with social media slang? Let's see if you can figure out what each of these commonly used terms stands for. DM, TBT, AMA, OP. Well, DM stands for direct message. TBT is the classic Throwback Thursday. AMA means Ask Me Anything. And OP stands for Original Poster. Did you get all of them right? Emily wants to go viral, so she films a day in my life vlog, saying she wakes up before sunrise every morning, but her followers quickly realize she's lying. How did they know? In her video, she's just getting out of bed, but sunlight's already streaming into her room. If she really woke up before sunrise, it would be dark inside. Grace's follower count triples each week. If she starts with 100 followers, how many followers will she have after 3 weeks? So, Grace began with 100 followers. By the end of week 1, her follower count had tripled to 300. The next week, that 300 tripled again, making 900 followers. It's time to play Guess the Social Media. First up, the answer is YouTube. Next, which social media platform do these emojis represent? That's easy, Facebook. Now, how about this one? Time's up, it's WhatsApp. What's the name of YouTube's feature that's perfect for sharing short videos? Shorts, minis, clipsters, flashes. It's option A, of course. Still on easy level. Which social networks originally limited posts to 140 characters? X, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Tumblr. It's X, or as you probably still call it, Twitter. Moving on to medium level. In what year was YouTube created? 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. And the right answer is option D. Next question. Before Snapchat became Snapchat, it had another name. Do you remember what it was? Peekaboo, Tote, The Snap, Boo Chat. The correct answer is option A, Peekaboo. Ready for some hard-level questions? Let's go. What was the first ever photo posted on Instagram? a beach landscape, a sunset, a dog, a hamburger with fries. The answer is option C, a dog. And now, the final question. Besides Mark Zuckerberg, 4 other people co-founded Facebook. Which of the following names had nothing to do with launching the platform? Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCollum, Chad Hurley, Dustin Moskovitz. You're right if you picked option C. Chad Hurley was actually one of the founders of YouTube. 3 friends were invited to a costume party. They went dressed as zombies, but only one of them is an actual human being. The other 2 are real-life zombies. Can you guess who? The first woman has zombie makeup filled with fake stitches. But she's smiling too much, which means she's a human. Zombies don't show emotion. The other 2 have expressionless faces and really pale skin. They're zombies for sure. John called the police claiming his best friend Mark was missing. Mark had stayed in John's house in Miami while John went on a business trip to Chile. Now that he returned, he found Mark had disappeared without a trace. But the police didn't buy it. How did they know John was lying? John claimed to have just come back from Chile, but he was super tanned. Yet when it's summer in Miami, it's winter in Chile. He was clearly lying. Adam stopped by a gas station at night. He filled his tank and went inside to pay. There were only 2 people inside, a cashier and a customer dressed in black. The cashier handed him a receipt and said his total was $5.05. But when he checked the paper, the total was $18. He paid, went outside, and called the police. Why? Because he noticed the cashier had written 505 on the receipt, and when you flip it upside down, it spells SOS. She was in danger. Monday morning started with chaos in Brook Hollow. Someone had robbed the bank, and the suspect was seen heading into Brook Hollow High. Detective Delgado rushed to the scene and found 2 teachers in the hallway. It didn't take long before he figured it out. Can you spot the thief too? Take a close look at the second teacher's sleeve. There's a bit of cash sticking out. She's the one behind the heist. Detective Ramos stopped 3 women outside a mall after receiving a tip about a fugitive in disguise. One woman worked as a florist, the other was a yoga teacher, and the last one was a tech consultant. Can you tell which one is actually dangerous? The florist. If you look closely, you can see the outline of a blade taped to her thigh under her skirt. She's the one who is trying to hide something. Lena and her friends headed to a cozy cabin for a chill weekend of games and ghost stories. But Saturday morning, they woke up and noticed their food was gone. The cabin door's glass was smashed. When they searched the woods, they figured out who had done it. Take a look at the image. Who's the culprit? There were bear tracks in the top left corner. Oh, and a cookie wrapper lying right there. The bears were the culprit. Tara and Mina are both pregnant. One of them works in a library, and the other teaches outdoor survival skills. Based on the photo, can you figure out who's putting herself in danger? It's Tara. Although Mina is rock climbing, she's very safe with all the top-notch equipment. But Tara is trying to reach for a very tall booking, standing on top of an unstable chair. That's dangerous. To get the secret location of a famous pop star's surprise concert, fans had to solve this riddle. They each got a text message that asked them to figure out what has keys but couldn't open locks, had space but no room, and you could enter but never leave. Can you guess the answer here? It's a keyboard. It was one of the hottest days of summer, and Marissa decided to go grab ice cream with her boyfriend. When they arrived at the shop, they noticed something weird. One of the people working in the shop wasn't human. Which one is it? It's the woman operating the ice cream machine. Look at her hand. It's green, and it's not a glove. She's only pretending to be human, that's for sure. Beck is also a solo space ranger. He travels the universe in his own spaceship with his pet elephant. The elephant needs to shower once a week, so Beck uses a lack of gravity to help him do that. He opens his spaceship's navigation system and 3 different planets pop up: Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. Can you help him choose the best planet to shower his pet? He should pick the planet where gravity isn't too strong, right? So he should pick Mars. Mary spent the last 3 months planning her backpacking trip through Europe. She was beyond excited when she finally hopped on her flight to Rome. She was looking for her seat on the plane when she noticed something very unusual. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell me what's wrong here? Why is there a tiger with a human hoodie sitting in one of the plane seats? This is wrong on so many levels. You walk into a diner for lunch. You order your food and decide where to sit down. There are only 2 clients in the restaurant, but one of them is really suspicious. Where is it safe for you to sit down? The first guy looks suspicious, especially since he's holding a defensive device. The second girl looks more innocent. She's just sitting, holding a knife and cutting her salad with it. But hey, she's the real danger here. That huge knife is too big for cutting a salad, and it's got a red stain on it. Becca and her boyfriend Tim had a huge argument. He accused her of cheating with him and stormed out of the house. He felt guilty and came back to the house unannounced a few hours later. When Becca opened the door, she looked worried. Take a look at the image. Was Becca lying after all? Yes, she was. If you have really sharp eyes, you probably saw that Becca's lover was hidden right there, next to the fireplace. He hid behind the logs, but you can still see a little bit of his feet coming out. There have been a series of disappearances in Auberville. Last week, a girl disappeared on the walk home from school and reappeared 2 days later, acting really weird. The police investigated what happened to her, and they concluded she'd been abducted. Take a look at this image. Use your logic to figure out why the police think she was abducted. Well, the girl is eating lunch with her hands, but while they're eating normal food, she's eating space food, the same food that NASA astronauts eat on their missions. That's probably why they think she was abducted. Maria is getting married next month. Some people confirmed their attendance last minute, and now she's cracking her head on how to sit them and watch the ceremony. Johnny and Harry are twins, and they can't stand each other. Rory and Emily are also twins that don't get along well. Barb is best friends with the guys, so she asks to sit next to one of them. What should the sitting order be so that no one freaks out? Rory should sit first, then Johnny and Barb. After them, Harry can sit down, followed by Emily. This way, peace prevails. Lily was perusing through her father's old photo albums for a school project. She found a picture of her father and his best friends at a party back in the 1970s. Her dad looked cool, but there was something weird about one of his friends. Can you take a look and see which one of his friends is from the future? It's the guy on the left. Take a look at his jeans pocket. He has a smartphone peeking out, but there were no smartphones back then, were there? He's definitely a time traveler.
Uh-oh, Marcus is running late for his plane. At the airport, he rushes to the info screen and gasps. Instead of showing the gate, it just says, Flight to New York, gate 1 plus 8 divided by 4. Which gate should he head to? Start with a division. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Add 1, and the final answer is 3. Hurry up, Marcus! Laura is enjoying a cozy movie afternoon when, crash! A ball smashes through her window. She runs outside and sees 4 neighborhood kids running off. Lily, Riley, Tom, and Mark. No one admits to it. Later, Laura finds a note slipped under her door. There's no confession, just a single symbol. Wait, that's a clue. Can you figure it out? It's a question mark, and hidden inside those words is a name, Mark. Yep, he's the one who threw the ball. John receives 3 mysterious packages. No return address, no names. Huh. Who sent me these? But the answer was right in front of him the whole time. Can you guess it? Look at the color of each box, blue, red, and orange. Take the first letter of each color and you get BRO. Oh, those gifts came from his brother. Nice. Isabella walks into a fortune teller's tent. The woman hands her a cup of tea and says, "Drink this. The leaves will point out your fate." Weird, but okay. Isabella sips the tea and hands the cup back. The fortune teller peers into the cup, gasps, and says, "One of these 3 men will change your life forever." So, which man is her soulmate? Remember what the fortune teller said? The leaves will point out your fate? But she didn't mean the tea leaves. She meant the leaf pattern on one guy's shirt. Yep, he's the one. Susan took her dog, Max, for a walk on the beach because he loves jumping into the ocean. As soon as they arrived, Susan went to buy an ice cream. But when she looked back, Max was gone. She started yelling his name, and 3 dogs came running over. So, which one is Max? One of the dogs has a collar that says Max, but that's just a coincidence. Her real dog is the 3rd one, the one that's soaking wet. Max loves the ocean, remember? Her pet just went for a swim. Bella was bored during her blind date with Sam. So, to spice things up, she grabs 16 toothpicks from the table and sets up a little challenge. She asks, "Can you remove 5 of these and be left with just 1?" Take a closer look. It's not about numbers, it's about letters. Remove these 5 matchsticks and voila! You're left with the word 1 spelled out. Too bad Sam didn't get it. Stephanie gets home after a long day, and all she wants is that dessert she left in the fridge. But it's gone. She turns to her 3 kids and asks, "Who took my dessert?" Michael answers, "I just got home and haven't eaten anything yet." Nicole goes, "I didn't touch your ice cream." Jenny says, "I went into the kitchen last time at noon." Let's see. Stephanie said dessert and never mentioned ice cream. So how did Nicole know exactly what was missing? That can only mean one thing. She's the sneaky dessert thief. Jack is ready to find someone special, and he's made a list of pros and cons for his future girlfriend. Pros: love animals, redhead. Cons: likes rock music, works in the arts. He opens a dating app and clicks on the first profile. So, is he going to match with her or not? She is a redhead, nice, but she's wearing a Kiss t-shirt, meaning she's into rock. So, it's a big no-no for Jack. Next. A new profile pops up on the screen. Tell me, is she the one? She has a dog, so she must be into animals. Great. But there's paint all over her shirt. Looks like she's a painter, and Jack's not into the arts. Sorry, man, today's just not your day. Paul's grandma is showing him an old photo album from her younger days. And the most exciting part is her trip to Japan. Paul asked, "When did you go?" His grandma smiles and said, "In the fall of 1950. But right away, he realizes that his grandma's memory may have slipped just a little. So, what's wrong? Well, she probably did go in 1950, just not in the fall. Take a look at the photos. They're filled with cherry blossoms, and those only bloom in the spring. Mia wants to paint each fingernail a different color. She finishes her right hand, 5 unique colors. But when she opens her nail polish drawer, that's it. Those 5 bottles are all she has. Still, she's determined to keep her left hand colorful, without repeating any of the original colors. She thinks for a second, and then, eureka! She figures it out. So how does she do it? Simple. She mixes the color she already had. That way, she creates 5 brand new colors, 1 for each nail on her left hand. Oh, problem solved. Jake is in charge of setting up tables for a wedding. Each table can seat 5 guests. He checks the list: 8 people from the bride's family, 6 from the groom's side, and 10 friends they both invited. So, how many tables does Jake need to set up? Add the total number of guests, and we have 24. Each table fits 5 people. That gives us 4 full tables with 4 guests left. So, Jake needs to set up 5 tables in total. 3 customers walk into a fancy city bakery. One came to pick up a cheesecake. Another ordered a ham and cheese sandwich. And the last one's here for a fresh apple pie. Take a good look at them. Can you figure out who's picking up what? This customer is wearing an oven mitt, so he's probably here for the apple pie that just came out of the oven. The second one's got a shirt with a vegetarian symbol, so there's no way he's touching that ham sandwich. That means he must be here for the cheesecake, and the ham and cheese sandwich is for the third customer. A teenage girl buys a new t-shirt with a giant mandala pattern on it. At first glance, it looks amazing. But then she looks a little closer and something's off. The pattern is incomplete in 3 different spots. Can you find them? Yep, there they are. Ha, nice catch. Ben teaches English to a group of international students. One day he says, "I bet you already know some colors in English." Then he turns to the whiteboard and writes the names of 4 super famous movies, but with a color missing from each title. Here's what they see. All right. Can you guess which colors go in the blanks? Only big movie fans will know the answer. It's pink, orange, green, and blue. At a fancy restaurant, 3 guests claim to be a vegan. The waiter comes over and takes their orders. The school teacher asks for a margarita pizza. The doctor wants a Hawaiian. And the journalist goes for a mushroom pizza. So, who's the fake vegan? Actually, all 3 of them. Those pizzas have cheese on them, and that's not part of a vegan diet. Margot was studying at the library. She took a quick bathroom break and came back to find her wallet missing. The librarian says someone was nearby but couldn't see clearly. Police question 3 students. Owen says, "I stayed at my desk the whole time." Finn goes, "I saw her, but I was just browsing books." Lucas says, "I was on the phone call with my friend, didn't see anything." So, who's lying? Wait a second, a phone call? Most libraries don't allow calls. You've got to be really quiet in there. So yeah, Lucas made that up. He stole the wallet. 3 women are sharing a table at a fancy gala, but one of them is secretly on the run from the police. Can you look at the picture and find the imposter? The first woman, dressed in red, is holding a glamorous clutch bag and elegant earrings. The second is using designer high heels and a very expensive-looking necklace. The third one looks pretty in pink, but hey, look at her right ankle. There's a clear tan line around her ankle that kind of gives away the ankle monitor she had on until recently. She's on the run for sure. Bex recently got engaged. To celebrate, she gifted her fiancé with tickets to a famous pop star's concert. Since they work on opposite sides of town, they decided to meet directly at the venue. Take a look at that crowd dancing in the VIP area. Can you figure out who Bex's fiancé is? It's that blonde guy in the middle. He and Bex have got matching tattoos. He's the one. Maeve quit her job and decided to travel the world. Her first destination was Paris. She just arrived and looked for the first hostel she could find. But, she really shouldn't go inside this place. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why? This hostel is haunted. There's the shadow of a ghost on the top window. I definitely wouldn't go in. Sarah was invited for brunch with her new colleagues from work. She recently started working at a tech company. She arrived at the restaurant but didn't see any of her colleagues. Instead, she saw a weird-looking robot. How could she tell that it was really a robot? I know it looks like a person, but hey, look at its wrists. It has USB ports on both of them. Inside a high-security prison, 3 men were eager to escape. The first one was trying to break the cell bars. The second was working out every day to get strong. The last one was quietly reading a book. Can you tell which one might have a chance at escaping? It's the one reading a book. He knows that none of the other prisoners are going to make it. By reading books, he might get an answer on how to escape. A doctor rushed into the emergency room and saw that there were 2 patients waiting for urgent treatment. The man on the left was a tech billionaire, and the lady on the right was a grandmother to 5 children. He needed to think fast who he would save. Who should he choose? He should choose the grandmother. The man on the left has a phone next to him. He could call someone else for help. A thief broke into a renowned artist's studio and stole a rare painting. He didn't manage to get too far, though, because a security patrol passed by while he was escaping. The thief stashed the painting under a thick bush and hid behind a nearby wall. Take a look at the picture. Which of these 2 guys stole the painting? If you crawl through a bush with bare arms, they'll most likely get scratched. Take a look at that second guy's arms. They're covered in scratches. He must be the culprit. Ava got into a serious accident during the weekend. She got a concussion and broke her leg. Still, the very next day, one of her friends saw her riding a bicycle in the park and she looked fine. How is that possible? Look, the girl who got into a car accident has a tattoo on her ankle. The girl on the bike doesn't. The girl who was riding the bike was Ava's twin sister, Malva. Ben and Paula were watching the Riddle channel at home. They got into a heated discussion about who would survive such a dangerous prank. Take a look at the image. Who do you think has the biggest chance at survival? It's the lady trapped with the snakes. I know it sounds dangerous, but the snakes are small and not poisonous. These are Julia and Jane. They are both very attractive young women who have no trouble finding boyfriends. Today is Valentine's Day, and they're both going out with their loved ones. One of them is currently dating 3 people, though, so she's probably going to run from date to date. Just by looking at this image, can you tell which one it is? It's Jane, the one on the left. If you look at her workstation, she's got 3 presents lined up, one for each person she's currently seeing. Anna and Barbara are cleaners at a fancy hotel. The hotel manager received a call saying that one of them had stolen precious jewelry from one of the guests. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It was Anna. If you look closely, there's a shiny diamond inside that cleaning bucket. Uh-oh. Olivia was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she did her best and outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy and excited she was going to win. But in a few seconds, she was very disappointed. Why? Because Olivia finished in second place when she wanted to finish first. This is what happened. She was fast enough to outrun the person who was going to win second place. But she wasn't fast enough to outrun the person who finished first. But hey, it's a good result anyway. Lila got an invitation to join a pop-up riddle show. She was excited to win, but when the host asked her the question, she froze. He asked her how many numbers were on a clock. Can you help her figure it out? The real answer here is 15. Here's the trick. Numbers like 10, 11, and 12 are made up of smaller digits. If you count clockwise, you actually have these digits: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, 1, and 1, 2. Add them all up, and you've got 15. A car crashed into a restaurant window and drove straight inside. The owner was horrified and called the cops to investigate. There are two main suspects, Julia and Bernard. Each of them claims it was the other person who is the culprit. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who is lying? It's Julia. If you pay attention to the tire tracks, you'll see that they're the same pattern as Julia's tires. She's the one who did it. Dan enrolled in a photography class. For his latest assignment, he needed to take a landscape picture and present it to the class. But Dan didn't have time to do the assignment, so he decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teacher and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because the image has two suns. That's not natural, at least not on planet Earth. Carly and her boyfriend traveled to Chicago for the first time ever. They spent the entire day sightseeing and decided to stop for a while on a park bench to rest. Take a look at the picture. Who is Carly's boyfriend? It's the guy on the left. He's wearing the same t-shirt she's wearing. During the office's end-of-year party, Heather and Tim kissed under the mistletoe, and it became the talk of the company. The next month, everyone was still talking about it near the coffee machine. Take a look at the image and try to guess which two people kissed under the mistletoe. I bet those eagle eyes spotted that two of them were wearing a similar pendant. On the left, you can see Tim, the guy with half of a heart-shaped necklace. And then on the right, Heather is the girl wearing a bracelet with the same pendant. Aww. Shonda was a contestant in a game show. The host called in 3 women with big bellies. The first woman said she was in the first term of her pregnancy. The second one said she was in her 3rd term. The last woman said she was 8 months pregnant. Can you help Shonda figure out which of the women is really pregnant? Judging from the size of their bellies, the first 2 women had no clue what they were talking about. The third woman had a belly size equivalent to 8 months pregnancy. So, she's the real mom. A fire broke out in the southern part of town, and 3 firefighters arrived at the building to tackle the problem. But the manager of the building immediately noticed one of them was a fake. How? It's the last woman. The first ones are legit, they're carrying the right equipment, and there are reflective stripes on their uniforms. But the last one has no stripes. She's just wearing a firefighter costume. Fran called the police because she hadn't seen or heard from her neighbor Derek for days. When the police arrived on New Year's Eve, they found Derek tied to a chair. Derek said some thieves had taken his money and laptop and left him stranded for 2 days. But the police figured it was all fake. How? Check the paper calendar on his wall. It's set for New Year's Eve. If he was tied to a chair, how could he have updated his calendar? Darren hosted a feast to celebrate his birthday. But as the guests were about to start eating, he got a text saying that the drinks on the table had been poisoned by one of the guests. To see if this was real, he proposed a toast. Luckily, he managed to catch the culprit. Take a look at this image. Can you tell who it is? Look at that guy sitting in the middle. He's holding an empty glass. He probably knew that the drinks had been poisoned, which is why he didn't pour anything for himself. Becca had just arrived from Egypt. During her trip, she bought a beautiful emerald necklace and wanted to show it to some of her friends. She threw a party for her closest friends, but by the end of the night, her emerald necklace had been stolen. Take a look at the security footage. Can you help Becca find the culprit? Look at that girl wearing a hat. At 1 a.m., her hat is flat, but at 2 a.m., her hat suddenly turned pointy, weirdly imitating the shape of an emerald. It must have been her. Alex needed to get across a park in the middle of the night in a dangerous town. He walked fast until, out of nowhere, a man knocked him out and robbed him. The next day, he needed to identify his robber. The detective gave 3 suspects a marker and asked them to write down their names. At the end, he arrested the right person. How did he know who to arrest? Alex was hit from the right side, so the police were trying to figure out who was left-handed. And among these 3 guys, the only left-handed one was the last guy on the right. On Brian's wedding day, he slipped on a banana peel. He hit his head, and when he woke up, there were 3 different brides in front of him. And one of these women was actually trying to poison him. Boy, is he having a day. Can you figure out who? Did you see the poison jar concealed behind that last bride's dress? She's probably the dangerous one. Bakerville Hospital is on the lookout for a fake nurse since a convict escaped prison and was seen entering one of the local hospitals, passing as a healthcare professional. Take a look at the image. Amy is about to draw some blood from her patient, while Lucy is about to inject a flu vaccine on another patient. Can you tell which one of them is the fake nurse? Well, it's Lucy. She doesn't have a syringe on her tray. So, how is she going to administer the vaccine? An old lady was shopping at the mall when she saw a woman dressed in orange at the cashier. The old lady started screaming, saying the woman was a convict that escaped from prison. The woman in orange felt really confused, called the police, and got the old lady kicked out of the mall. What exactly happened here? The woman was dressed in orange overalls, but it was just a fashion trend. The old lady mistook it for prison clothing. Kiki and Jack went to a wildlife reserve to produce some content for their social media followers. Each of them picked a wild animal to pose with. Which one of them is being more careless here? Take a look at the picture. Well, let's see. It's Kiki. The snake is too close to her face. It could hurt her. While the crocodile is simply interested in the meal that Jack is feeding him. Brandy and Michelle were both accused of being a vampire after they posted these pictures online. Take a look at them. Which one is a real vampire? It's Brandy, the blonde girl on the left. If you look closely, you can't see her reflection in the mirror. She must be a vampire. Jack works at the morgue. He's doing his morning round, checking on all the new arrivals when he feels something touch his legs. His heart starts beating really fast. How could this be possible? Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which of these bodies is still alive? It's the one on the right side. If you check it out, his hand is poking out of the bed. He must still be alive. Ew. Emma was living with two other girls in a tiny apartment. She had the feeling that one of the girls didn't really like her, and one day, when she got home from work, there were 3 apples on her desk and a small note. The note said the apples were a housewarming gift, but it didn't say from whom. Take a look at the picture. Are any of these apples safe to eat? The one that has the little worm in it is the safest one. Who knows, maybe the other ones are poison or worse. Jane and Brendan didn't really like each other, but they were sharing a flat because they were short on money. One night, Jane cooked Brendan a meal. A few hours later, he felt so bad he needed to go to the hospital. The doctors told him he had been poisoned. Take a look at the picture. Can you find any evidence this is real? Zoom in on Jane's knife. It has a weird black liquid on it that looks suspicious. It's gluey and has an orange tint to it. That must be the poison. Jason received a note from a girl in his school asking him out. But the girl forgot to sign her name on the letter. He has no idea who she was, only that she was in his class. Take a look around. Which girl do you think sent him the letter? Well, the letter was written in a red pen, so the girl who sent him was probably the one on the left, using the red inked pen. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered the hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be the robber, who was pretending to be a patient. Can you identify this person? It definitely can't be this pregnant woman. It's also not the old man holding onto a wheelchair. It's the last man. He's pretending to be blind, but hey, he doesn't have a walking stick. I'll bet it's the robber wearing shades pretending he's blind. Are you ready for a mental workout? These riddles will make your brain sweat. So let's get it started. And bring a towel with you, okay? It's lunchtime at a large and busy office. Jeremy is enjoying some noodles from a takeout container. Yum! Liza prefers a healthy salad with shrimp. Seems like a pretty normal situation, but one of them is eating someone else's lunch. Yikes! Can you guess who? Looks like Jeremy likes to steal other people's food, or maybe it's just today. The container he's eating from is clearly labeled Brian, and he's not Brian. His own badge says Jeremy. Someone just robbed the jewelry store downtown. The robber ran inside the hospital and tried to mix with the crowd. But hey, no one can fool the local police officer. He has 3 suspects: a pregnant woman, an old man, and a blind man in sunglasses. Which of them is the disguised robber? It's the man with sunglasses. He's pretending to be blind, but he doesn't have a cane, which is suspicious. He must have just put those sunglasses on for disguise. Mindy is opening a new hair salon and wants to hire the best hairdressers. 3 candidates apply for the job. Alice claims to have 25 years of experience. Apple recently won a prestigious award. Natalie specializes in hair coloring, and her social media looks pretty amazing. One of the ladies is lying, though. Can you guess who? Alice says she has 25 years of experience, but her profile states she's only 30 years old. Unless she started working as a hairdresser at 5, she must be lying. Oh no, someone stole a pair of expensive high-heeled shoes from a designer boutique. Surveillance cameras inside weren't working, but luckily, there are some photos of people entering and exiting. Can you spot the thief? Look here. This woman became taller when she was leaving the store. She must have put on the high heels she had just stolen. A group of friends is going away for the weekend and renting a house. They agree to cook together, and everybody makes one dish. It's time to eat the soup, and everyone who has tried it starts giggling. The soup tastes like dessert, so the cook must have mixed up sugar and salt. Can you guess which of the friends cooked the soup? This guy in the corner has a fork instead of a spoon. He knew he wouldn't want the sweet soup anyways, so he didn't take a spoon for himself. 5 contestants make it to the final round of a popular cooking show on TV. Their task today is to talk about the most impressive cake they've ever made. Of course, they must show photos or videos of the cake. Sarah and Lizzie show the same absolutely amazing cake. Which one of them is lying that she made it? Both of them decided to cheat. The cake photo has the logo of its real creator in the bottom right corner. It says, "Made with Love by Nina Potter." You go to a museum that has an amazing new natural exhibition, but you didn't expect your immersion into nature to be so complete. One spider broke free from its exhibit window. Everyone is panicking, but you want to help out and spot it before it does something mean. Good luck saving everyone. Yay, here it is! The spider must have thought this beautiful painting is real and wanted to join the fam. Half of its body goes well beyond the frame. Don't like spiders? Yeah, me neither. I've got a bunny riddle for you. This cutie is running wild and free right into that field. Can you tell to what point it can run into that field? The bunny can only run as far as the middle of the field. After that midpoint, it will actually be running out of the field. Nancy has a job interview. It's going well, and she only has one question left to answer. The interviewer asks, "If you multiply all the numbers on your phone keypad, what number will you get?" Nancy is really confused since she isn't that good at math. Can you help her out? You don't have to be a math genius to solve this one. Multiplying any number by 0 always results in 0. And since there's a 0 on the phone, that's the answer. A really sweet-looking old man approaches Sam at the restaurant.
Hey!
He says Sam looks exactly like his son, whom he hasn't seen for years. He asks Sam a simple favor, to wave at him and say, "Bye, Dad," when he leaves the restaurant. Sam gladly does it, but minutes later, he gets a huge bill from the waiter. What just happened here? The old man told the waiter that his son would pay for his heavy lunch, and since Sam called him Dad, the waiter believed him. A famous painter is ready to give away one of his works for free to whoever guesses the logic behind this composition. The colors are burgundy, crimson, indigo, olive, and pink. Which color should go next and finish the sequence? The number of letters in the names of these colors gets reduced by 1 in every next row. So, any color that has 3 letters in its name will do. For example, tan or red. Ashley moves to a tiny town where everyone knows and helps each other. There are 2 nail artists to choose from. The first looks really fancy, and her nails are impeccable. She works at the only beauty studio in town, and it's really chic. The second one works at home, and her nails don't look so perfect. Which one should Ashley choose? Since they are the only 2 nail specialists, they do each other's nails. So Ashley should go to the second lady. She did a really great job on the other one. Tim is a real globetrotter and travels so much that he sometimes forgets where he is. He arrives at one of many hotels on his trip and wants to find out what time it is. He sees 3 clocks, each showing the time at one location. So, what time is it now? The Coliseum and Manhattan are just posters on the wall, and the Sydney Opera House is really there. You can see it through the window. So the correct time is 9:25, mate. Someone stole the trophy from Angelina, who had just won the Best Actress award. There are 3 main suspects. Jim, a backstage crew member, claims that he was busy taking photos with all the celebrities. Nadia, an actress who didn't win this year, says this award meant nothing to her, so she wouldn't steal it. Kat, a celebrity stylist, says she was watching the ceremony with other guests, and they can confirm it. So, who's lying? If you look closely, you can see Nadia stealing the award in Jim's photos. I guess you wanted it after all. It's a summer weekend and friends are chilling at a remote lake. 4 of them go inside the lake, which is completely empty. Sometime later, 8 people walked out of the lake. What just happened there? Well, 4 people who walked into the lake were carrying 4 friends on their shoulders on the way in. They jumped off inside the lake and walked out on their own. Elisa finds an ad that offers a 90% discount on her dream vacation to whoever can solve the riddle. The owner of the travel agency shows a $50 bill and asks to find the easiest way to double the money in 10 seconds. What should Elisa do to solve the riddle? She should just put the bill in front of a mirror to double the money. Ashley receives an unsigned love note with an invitation to a fancy date. Inside the envelope, there was also a calendar and a code, 12-26-3. Can you help the girl figure out who sent the note? The calendar will help. You'll need to find all the numbers in the calendar, and the first letters of the respective months will make up the name. So 12 is circled in September, so it's the letter S. Number 26 is circled in August, so it's an A. 3 is in May, it's an M. So the guy's name is Sam. Did you manage to solve all the riddles? Which one of them was the hardest? Feel free to share in the comments below. Becky and Emma meet at a party. They're in line to the bathroom, but one of them is not human. Can you tell which one? You need to look at the girl's reflection in the mirror. Becky, on the left, has a weird shadow, but is still human. Emma's shadow, on the other hand, reveals she's actually a vampire. Vampires don't have shadows, remember? And do vampires even need to use the bathroom? Well, I can't answer that. Dan was walking his dog when a flower pot hit him on the head. He felt very dizzy and suspected that one of his neighbors had thrown the pot on purpose. He knocked on his neighbor's door to find out if they had done it, but the neighbor said they had just returned home less than 3 minutes ago. However, Dan saw something that proved they were lying. What was it? Well, the neighbors had something boiling on the stove when Dan arrived. Such a large pan doesn't boil in less than 3 minutes. They were definitely lying. 3 people were walking down the street when they saw a car parked in a prohibited place with the alarm going off. A police officer stopped the 3 of them and asked whose car it was. They all claimed the car was theirs. Which one was lying? The man in the suit is wearing a badge, and the same badge is hanging from the car's rearview mirror. There's also a university sticker on the car, which matches the one on the girl's notebook. They must be family and own the car. The delivery man is the one who's lying. One evening, at around 8 p.m., Henry decided to have dinner. When he walked into a restaurant, a customer and a waiter were arguing. The customer insisted that he had ordered soup, while the waiter said the customer had only ordered tea. Henry noticed something that immediately revealed who was lying. Can you figure it out? The customer is lying. Behind him, there's a huge sign that says the restaurant only serves soup from 1 to 4 p.m. So, no soup for you. Mandy was at the zoo when she had her handbag snatched. She didn't see the thief's face, but she noticed that he was wearing a zookeeper's uniform. Now, take a look at these 2 zookeepers feeding the animals. Which one is the thief? The thief is the one on the right. He's trying to feed a rhinoceros a piece of meat. This clearly shows he knows nothing about animals, since rhinos are vegetarians, thank goodness. It's Cindy's first day at her new job. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who Cindy's boss is? I know he looks pretty young, but it's the guy on the left. His blazer is on the boss's chair. It was a lovely spring morning, so Margaret took her daughters to the park. She left her bag right beside her next to a stranger. After a few minutes, she noticed the bag was stolen. Can you figure out who the thief was? The person came out from the bush behind the bench where Margaret was seated. He was very quick, but you can still see the bush moving. Bernard is the owner of a meat shop downtown. He sells really expensive meat. That day's special was a premium bacon worth over $500. During the rush, he was so busy attending to customers that he didn't notice someone had stolen the bacon. Who's the thief here? It's the guy in the suit. The dog is sniffing his bag as if there's some bacon inside it. He's definitely the one. Tim always takes his lunch to work, but that day someone stole his burrito. He interviewed his colleagues to find the culprit. Helen, his boss, said she ordered sushi that day. Joe, who's highly allergic to gluten, said he brought his own food. And Beth, another coworker, got a salad from the cafeteria. Take a look at the picture and find the culprit. It was Joe. His hands are severely swollen because he's allergic to the gluten in the burrito. Laurel, a high-profile detective, was leaving the supermarket when the police came rushing in asking for her help. A woman had robbed a jewelry store and was seen walking into that building. Can you tell which one of them is the thief? Take a look at the second cashier's long-sleeve shirt. It has a very shiny diamond necklace peeking out of it. She's most certainly the criminal. The airport police are having a lot of trouble these days. Many convicts escape prison and are trying to leave the country as fast as they can. Take a look at this image. Can you figure out who the fugitive is? It's the lady on the right. Although the woman in the wanted poster is blonde, she must have dyed her hair brown to try to get through security. But her lips and freckles are exactly the same as in the picture. Mabel's boyfriend decided to test her on how well she knew him. Each time she answered correctly, she would get 2 points. Each wrong answer would make her lose 2 points. He asked her 5 questions in total, and Mabel got 4 of them right. How many points did she score? Six points. 4 correct answers gave her 8 points, minus 2 points for 1 wrong answer. Isn't that a great relationship? You're dating a mathematics nerd. On your first date, he takes you to an ancient site and shows you the inscriptions marked on a wall. The inscriptions consist of a sequence of numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. But the other numbers are blurred. He asks you if you can figure out which numbers come next. Can you? The numbers that follow would be 13, 17, 19. This is a sequence of prime numbers, which can only be divided by 1 and themselves. When you arrive at the door of an old temple, the guardian of the temple gives you a vase with this equation written on it. It's your test to figure out the result. What's the answer, genius? The answer is XX, or 20 in our language. IX in Roman numerals stands for 9, while XI is 11. So the total sum is 20. Phil was the guardian of an ancient pyramid. Phil? Okay. He wrote a code down so his successors could find a hidden chamber. But he tore the note to make it more difficult for his enemies to find it. He tore it into 3 pieces, then took one of the pieces and tore it into 3 again. In the end, the note was divided into 9 pieces. How many times did he tear the paper? Four times. After the first rip, there were 3 pieces, then 5, then 7, then 9. Liam asked his brother to solve a riddle. If he got it right, he'd get $50. He told his brother that if he tripled the number he was thinking of, then added 6, he'd get 21. What was the number Liam was thinking of? The number was 5. 5 times 3 equals 15, plus 6 equals 21. Hey, time for blackjack, huh? Well, Melanie came to her best friend's birthday party. She was having the time of her life when she noticed something creepy. One of the guests wasn't human. Have you spotted this weird creature too? It's that guy hanging upside down with his head on the shelf. Yep, him. Eerie. To relieve stress, Melanie decided to go to a club, but it seemed like the universe was conspiring against her. Melanie saw another non-human being. Look at the image attentively and try to figure out who is not human. It's the DJ. He's levitating. Run, Melanie, run! The girl decided that a public park in the center of the city must be a safe place. So she sat down on a bench and got ready to enjoy the sun. And guess what? She spotted someone else who wasn't human. Who is it? It's that lady on the bench. She doesn't cast a shadow. By the time Melanie's boyfriend, Marcus, invited her to have dinner with his friends, the girl had already resigned herself to her fate. So when she realized that one of the attendants was a vampire, she wasn't all that surprised. Do you see who doesn't belong to the world of the living? It's the guy wearing a blue pullover. He's holding a pack with some red liquid inside. It's something vampires really like. Yeah, you get what I mean, right? Having escaped the party, Melanie went to drink some coffee at a nearby cafe. There were two baristas there, and Melanie immediately understood that one of them was a robot. Duh, what are the odds? Anyway, which barista isn't human? It's the one on the left. There's a faint light above her ear, see? I don't think humans can shine. A man walked into a store and stole a $100 bill from the register. After that, he bought $70 worth of goods using the money he had taken. The unsuspecting owner of the store gave him $30 in change. How much money did the owner lose altogether? Your first instinct might be to say $130, but in fact, the owner lost $100. It was $70 worth of goods and those $30 of change. Uh-oh, the best man better hurry and find those wedding rings. Do you think you could help him? That's where they are. Now look at this picture. By moving just 2 matchsticks, you gotta make the biggest possible number. What number is it? It's 51,181. Move the matchsticks from the top and bottom of the digit 0 to the center and use these to make the digit 1 after the digit 8. You see that? Now, you need to pick 3 balls to get 30. Which balls will you take? All the given balls are odd-numbered, and we know that adding 3 odd numbers can never result in an even number. But you can get 30 by using balls number 11, 13, and 9. You just need to rotate 9 so that it reads 6. Now, you probably know that ants move in groups. In one of such groups, there are 2 ants in front of 2 ants, 2 ants behind 2 ants, and 2 ants next to 2 ants. How many ants were there in the group? Even though it may seem there were a lot of ants in the group, in reality, there were just 4. They simply stood in a square formation. Nick and Sam live in different parts of the city, but they go to the same college. Today, Sam left home 15 minutes earlier than Nick did. They met in the park. Who was closer to the college when they met? The guys met in the same place, so this means they are equally close to the college. There are 5 apples. They are green and red. Of any 2 apples, at least one is red. How many green apples are there? There is only one green apple. As you can see, in any pair of apples, one or both fruits are red. It means there can be no pair where both apples are green, which, in turn, means there can't be more than one green apple. Otherwise, they would make a pair. You see that? You've got a lock with a special code consisting of 3 digits. Each digit can be any number from 1 to 9. To open the lock, you need to figure out the secret code. Let me help you and give you some clues. Before the first number, I say higher. Before the second number, I say lower. And before the last number, I say correct. Can you guess the code? The code is actually the number of letters in the words higher, lower, and correct. 6, 5, and 7 respectively. 3 brothers won 2 scooters that had the same price in a lottery. To divide their winnings equally, the oldest and the middle brother each took a scooter. Then, each of them gave 350 coins to the youngest brother. How many coins is one scooter worth? It cost 1,050 coins. You see, the younger brother got this sum of money. This is the third of the cost of the 2 scooters. It means that 2 scooters are worth 2,100 coins. This way, one scooter costs 1,050 coins. Kate lives on the 4th floor and Alex lives on the 2nd floor. When she goes up to the 4th floor, Kate climbs 60 stairs. How many stairs does Alex have to climb to get to the 2nd floor? Your first answer might be that Alex needs to climb 30 stairs. It's half as many as Kate has to because she lives on a floor twice as high. But this is not the case. When Kate goes up to the 4th floor, she climbs 6 flights of stairs. So there are 20 stairs between 2 floors. It means that when Alex goes from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor, he climbs 20 stairs. A businessman was about to go through a security check at the airport when he realized someone had taken his luggage. The airport police had 3 suspects. Lisa said she wouldn't take someone's old brown bag when she had her own, bright pink and pretty. Mike explained he was a light traveler and didn't have luggage. He put everything in his backpack. Rob had a broken arm and a sprained ankle. He could hardly carry anything. The police immediately knew who had done it. Can you figure it out? It was Lisa. Nobody told her the luggage was brown. Then how did she figure it out? Mrs. Smith called the school principal to report that someone had taken her students' tests. She added that she had noticed a stranger wearing school clothes, gloves, and a red hat walking the school hallways. This person also had 3-star tattoos on their fingers. The principal didn't believe the teacher. Why? She said the person had been wearing gloves. But then, how did she see those 3-star tattoos on the intruder's fingers? She must have lost the test herself and was trying to find an excuse. Laura had always dreamed of having a dog. As soon as she started living on her own, she got herself an extremely expensive puppy. Once she had to go on a business trip. She asked Sarah, her housekeeper, Annabelle, her cook, and Phoebe, her sister, to look after her pet. But when Laura came back, her dog was gone, and all 3 women claimed they didn't know what had happened. Look at them attentively. Who is lying? It's the cook. See, the puppy's collar is in her pocket. Lisa followed her mom's instructions and went to bed without objections. But her mom suspected that her daughter hadn't brushed her teeth. If you manage to find a toothbrush in the girl's bedroom, her mother's suspicions are correct. Ah, the toothbrush is hidden on that shelf. Uh-oh, someone is going to be in trouble tomorrow. So, you love riddles? Well, here's a treat for you. Some of these puzzles are sneaky, some are fun, and all of them will keep you guessing. Think fast and enjoy. Lisa and Shannon are friends and neighbors. They've agreed to go out tonight, and each of them is preparing in her bathroom. One of the girls is single, and the other one is in a happy relationship. Can you guess who's single? Although both of them have only one towel, one toothbrush, and one bottle of perfume, there's a little clue in Shannon's bathroom: a man's tie on a hook. So Lisa is single. Or at least Lisa's guy doesn't leave stuff behind. Steve and Ashley just got married and went on an exotic and luxurious honeymoon to the Bahamas. When they came back, they decided they didn't want to go back to work and kept traveling the world. Everywhere they went, they stayed only at the most expensive hotels and flew business class. They kept buying each other expensive gifts. After a year of living like this, they became millionaires. How was that possible? Well, when they started on this spending spree, they were billionaires, so they actually lost a lot of money. Louise doubts if her husband is loyal to her. She calls a private detective to see if she's right. The detective asks for some evidence, and she sends him a link to her husband's Instagram. There, he finds a carousel of photos from a party. After looking at the photos carefully, the detective says he is almost sure Louise is right. How did he guess? The man is wearing his t-shirt the proper way in the first 3 photos, but in the 4th one, it's inside out. Who knows what he was really doing at that party? It's 2 a.m. and Sally is waiting for her fiancé, Mike, at home. When she texts him, he sends her a photo and says she has nothing to worry about since he's out with the boys. Still, she decides to call off the wedding. Why? See that hand with perfectly long pink nails? Mike is definitely not out with the boys. There's at least one lady, and she's right next to him. Stephen called the police and told him his wife had gone out to walk their dog, Mr. Poppy, in the morning and disappeared. The police arrived at the house to find possible witnesses. The mailman told them he hadn't seen the woman or her dog for ages. The police instantly knew he was lying. How did they guess? His sleeve is a bit torn, and there's a dog bite on his arm. Plus, he's trying to hide the dog tag Mr. Poppy in his hand. The dog probably tried to protect his owner, so the mailman was up to no good. Lady Sunshine is a famous pop singer. She has many secrets, and all the tabloids are trying to find out at least something. She comes to a small restaurant for a date. There's no one but the waiters inside. 10 minutes later, a huge tabloid posts their photos. Who secretly took them? It's this girl on the right. You can see a wig and some men's clothes in her bag. She was pretending to be a waiter to get close to the celebrity. Mrs. Richardson and her husband got into a car accident. He lost control while driving, but managed to jump out of the car and wasn't hurt. But his wife got locked in and ended up in the water. She lost consciousness, and when she opened her eyes after a few minutes, her husband told her he had done everything to rescue her. She didn't believe him. Why? Mr. Richardson's clothes are completely dry, so he didn't even jump in the water to try to save her. Some other man, who's now all wet, saved her life. Jack collects rare antique items. He enters a small store and wants to buy a painting. The owner honestly tells him it's a copy of a famous artist's work, but he still decides to buy it and pays a lot of money for it. Why? He collects antique items, and that frame looks like it's really old and worth it. Ellie and Lena are best friends. They share everything, and even decide to get married on the same day. Ellie wants an elegant wedding with white and gold as theme colors and classical music. Lena decides to have a rock and roll ball, and the theme colors are black and red. They manage to do everything as they planned, and both of them are happy. How is it possible? Well, they decided to get married on the same day, but not the same year. A thief wants to break into an old widow's house. He watches her for a while and notices that she watches TV all day and she can't see the back door from the point where she sits. She can't hear him either. But once he gets inside the house, the lady immediately pushes the red button and a private security team arrives and ties up the thief. How did she know he got in? The lady wasn't really watching TV, but a live feed from security cameras installed above all doors and windows. Generally boring entertainment, but occasionally very exciting. After taking a shower, Tyler realizes he's lost his wedding ring. Uh-oh, looks like it fell down the drain. When his wife comes back, he's afraid to tell her what happened. But she looks at her husband, asks him to turn around, and pulls the ring out of his hair. What happened, and how did she know the ring was there? So the ring must have gotten caught there while he was in the shower. There's a mirror behind Tyler. The wife noticed the ring in the reflection. Ethan invites everyone to his birthday party, including Sandy, the girl he has a crush on. Sandy didn't show up. She said that on Friday evening there was a power outage and she didn't have any internet or electricity for the whole weekend. That's why she couldn't charge her phone and call Ethan. She decided to stay home and spend both days in front of the computer, writing her midterm papers. Ethan knew she just didn't want to go. Why? A PC doesn't work without power, and a laptop wouldn't last for 2 days without charging. Someone stole rare and expensive jewelry from a famous actress's apartment. Her neighbor accidentally found the jewels in a trash container. The robber must have hidden them there. Then he disappeared into a dark alley. The police caught him and 2 other suspects. Who do you think the thief is here? Look at this guy's shoes. Some salad leaves and other trash have stuck to his sneaker. That's because he's been inside the trash container. Lucy, a rich heiress, got in an accident and lost her memory. 3 people came to visit her and claim that they love her the most. It's her best friend, her long-lost brother, and her aunt. Can you tell who really loves Lucy here? It's just one person. The girl must really be her best friend. Look, they have matching necklaces. Lucy says best, and the girls says friends. It was a rainy night, so Katie and her sister decided to stay at home and watch a movie together. There was a weather forecast after the movie. The lady said it'd keep raining for 2 more days, but in 72 hours it'd be bright and sunny. Katie looked at her sister and said that the weather lady was wrong. How did she know? In 72 hours, it would be the very same time as now. It can't be bright and sunny at night. Christina got sick and asked her boyfriend Nick to go and buy her favorite muffin. The lady who made it came to their town only once a month at midday. Nick forgot about her favor and missed the lady, but he didn't want to admit it and told Christina that all the muffins were sold out when he came. He sent her a picture to prove he was there. But once Christina saw it, she knew Nick was lying. How? The clock in the back clearly points to 5 o'clock. So, how many riddles did you solve? Feel free to brag in the comments below. Hey, if you don't believe math can be fun, these riddles will change your opinion for good. Let's start with an easy one for a warm-up. How many 7s are there from 1 to 100? The most obvious answer would be 10. But hey, there are some extra 7s from 70 to 80, right? So the correct answer here is 19. Your next task will be to put together 8 8s to get the number 1000. You're only allowed to use addition and logic. Are you ready? So first, you need to get as close to 1,000 as you can. In our case, it'll be the number 888. From this point, it's all easy. 888 plus 88 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 1,000. Here comes the first equation you're going to solve. Move only one digit to make this one correct. Easy peasy. All you gotta do is move 1 from here to here. Now it all makes sense. I am a number between 1 and 100. If you add me to my reverse, the sum is 121. What number am I? If you were looking for just one answer here, here's some news. There are many possible answers. It can be any number where the total of 2 digits is 11, 29 and 92, 38 and 47, and 74, and 56 and 65. I never thought 2 plus 3 is 8. Or maybe there's some other logic here. Try to figure it out and choose one option to finish the sequence. The correct answer here will be 125. This equation is all about cubic numbers. 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, and finally, 5 cubed is 125. Do you like matchstick puzzles? Well, here's one for you. This equation looks all wrong now. Your task is to move only one matchstick to make it right. There you go. 9 plus 0 is 9 indeed. Since you were so good, Here's another one. The task is the same. Move just one matchstick to fix the equation. Wow, was it that simple? 7 plus 2 equals 9. Now, can you move 4 matchsticks to form 3 squares here? Are you ready? Yep, it was that simple. I add 6 to 11 and get 5. There's no mistake here, so can you explain how it works? You have to think outside the box with this one. I wasn't talking about just any numbers, but about the numbers on a clock. When it is 11 a.m., adding 6 hours makes it 5 p.m. No, I didn't cheat. Come on. Alrighty. Have you noticed what single digit appears most frequently between and including the numbers 1 and 1000? This digit is 1. Every number from 1 to 9 appears the same number of times in every 10 numbers. But since we're counting up to 1000, there's an extra number 1. In total, the number 1 appears 301 times, and every other number appears only 300 times. Now, what is the smallest number that increases by 12 when you flip it and turn it upside down? It's 86. When you turn it upside down and flip, it becomes 98, which is 12 more than 86. Now, you need to move exactly 3 matchsticks to make the equation below true. And remember, it can be solved in 3 different ways. Here are the 3 possible solutions. If you guessed at least one of them, well done! And if you thought of all 3, congrats, you're a genius! You're only allowed to move 2 matches here, and your task is to create the lowest possible number. A hint here, it can even be negative. The lowest you can go is negative 9118. Woo, you nailed it. Multiply this number by any other number and you will always get the same answer. What number am I talking about? Yep, it's 0. Whatever you multiply by 0 becomes 0. What a beautiful mathematical pyramid. But it needs some renovations. If you can move only 3 circles, can you turn it upside down? In case you thought it was impossible, there you go! You just needed to move these 3 circles. There are 7 apples on the table. You take away 3 of them. How many apples do you have now? This one is more about life than math. You took 3 apples, so you have 3 apples now. 4 apples are still on the table, but they're not yours. How many squares can you count in the image below? Friendly tip? It's not 9. The correct answer is 14 squares. Do you know the maximum number of times you can subtract 5 from 25? Well, actually, you can only do it once. This is because when you subtract 5 from 25, it becomes 20. So from this point, you're no longer subtracting from 25. Mr. Samuels passed away at a really old age, surrounded by his family. They were sad as he only had 26 birthdays. How is this possible? Looks like Mr. Samuels was born on February 29th in a leap year. This only happens every 4 years, so he had a chance to age after all. You have 26 white socks and 30 black socks, and I'm jealous. Suddenly the lights go off so you can't see the color of the socks. How many socks do you need to grab to make sure you have at least one matching pair? You need just 3. Even in the worst-case scenario, you will pick out one black sock and one white sock, and the third one you pick will have to match one of them. If you divide 30 by 1/2 and then add 5, what number will you get? It will be 65. When you divide a fraction, it turns into a multiplication. So you need to multiply 30 times 2, which gives you 60. Then add 5, and the final number is 65. What can you put between 6 and a 7 to make the result greater than a 6 but less than a 7? It's not any number, but just a decimal. 6.7 is greater than 6, but less than 7. Can you make a true math equation using only the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the symbols plus and equals? Sure you can. 2 plus 5 equals 3 plus 4. Both 2 plus 5 and 3 plus 4 equals 7. If 2 is company and 3 is a crowd, what are 4 and 5? This is some pretty basic math. 4 and 5 put together, also pronounced put together, gives us 9. I hope your logic is still strong, as you are going to need it to solve this equation. Well, first, you see that the square equals 2 and the circle is 1. So, 2 minus 1 is 1. How would you place the numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80 so that each side of the square adds up to 150? Feel free to pause the video and take some extra time for this one. Here's the correct sequence of numbers. Beautiful! Now, take a look at this numerical staircase. Guess the logic here and find the missing number. First, we multiply 7 by 2 and get 14. Then we multiply 14 by 3 and get 42. The next step is 42 multiplied by 4, and it's 168. So we need to multiply 168 by 5, and it gives us 840. My twin lives at the reverse of my house number. Can you imagine I had a twin? Never mind. Anyway, the difference between our house numbers ends in 2. What are the lowest possible numbers of our house numbers? The lowest possible numbers for the houses are 19 and 91. The difference is 72. Amy planted sunflower seeds in her back garden. Every day, the number of flowers doubles. It takes 56 days for the flowers to fill the whole garden. So how long would it take for the flowers to fill half the garden? Well, it's not 28 as you might have thought, but 55. If the number of flowers doubles every day, then half of the garden on the 55th day would turn into the whole garden in bloom the next day. Alright, moving on. This diagram only seems tricky. I'm sure you can easily guess what number should be in the middle. It's 8. If you subtract 8 from any of the bigger numbers, you'll get its opposite number as a result. So, how many of these math riddles did you manage to solve? Feel free to brag in the comments below. Bye! Okay, here we go. Linda's a total master of disguise, and nothing fake gets past her sharp eyes. Take these 2 necklaces, for example. Can you tell which one is made with real pearls? Yep, you got it. Real pearls aren't all exactly the same size. She's also pro at reading people. Check out these 3 guys. They're all smiling and all, but one of them is totally faking it. Can you spot who's hiding their true feelings? Uh-oh, hot coffee with no sleeve? Ooh, that guy's hands must be on fire. Take a good look at this original painting. Cool. Now, we're gonna put a fake copy right next to it. Linda spotted 3 major differences. Think you can find them too? Nailed it. There they are. Warm-up is done, now it's mission time. During a science class, the school alarm suddenly goes off. Then Linda bursts in with a serious warning. A being from another planet has been spotted on campus, disguised as a student. You glance over at the 3 girls by the window. Something feels off. Can you spot it? Aha! Look at the blonde girl's reflection in the window. Her eyes are way too big, and the pupils are vertical. Yep, she's the extraterrestrial in disguise, and not a very good one. In the next room, the younger kids are deep into a spelling test. One student just handed in their answers, and Linda decides to take a peek. Can you spot the word that's spelled wrong? Yep, that's definitely not right. This school's got 5 doors, and the higher you go, the more teens you'll find hanging out and studying. Now, here's the question. Which floor does the elevator stop at the most? And the answer is floor number 1, of course. Everyone is going to pass through the first door, no matter where they're headed. Over in drama class, the freshmen are rehearsing for a spooky horror play. Among the extras are 3 new faces nobody really knows. The scene starts, the lights cut out, and then a wild, bone-chilling howl echoes through the room. Okay, time to figure it out. Which one of these extras is the werewolf in disguise? It's the guy with the dirt-stained clothes. The mud and grass on his shoes are real. Unlike the others, he's not just dressed for the part. He's been running around outside like a true creature of the night. Now it's the senior students' turn to hit the stage with their epic superhero play. And the villain will be Thanos. But wait a sec. Linda's sharp eyes catch something seriously off with the student's costume. Can you spot it too? Uh-oh. Now, Marvel fans know that the stone in the middle should be yellow, not gray. They have to fix it before showtime. Someone left a secret set list in the music room. 3 songs are already written on the whiteboard, but can you figure out what the 4th one is? All of these songs are from the Beatles. After figuring that out, it's pretty easy to guess that the last one is Twist and Shout. The next day, Linda heads to a summer pool party, where 3 women are swimming peacefully in the pool. But then, she hears this mesmerizing sound that starts drawing people in. There might be a mermaid among them, but who is it? The woman with the swimming cap has been underwater the whole time. That means she could have a tail hidden away, out of sight from everyone. Yep, she is the mermaid. Linda needs to freshen up, so she hurries over to grab a drink. The waiter presents her with 3 options, each in a different type of glass. But one of them is definitely not safe to drink. Can you figure out which one? Take a look at the menu on the counter. They have only orange, strawberry, and pineapple juice. So, what's that green liquid doing there? Yeah, that's sus. Suddenly, a woman asks for help. She can't find her purse among all the others left by the party guests. But she gives one helpful clue. Her bag has no clasp. Can you spot it? Awesome, there it is! Our disguise expert suddenly gets called in by the police. It's Halloween night, and a woman reports she was robbed by someone dressed in a doctor's costume. Can you figure out who the thief is? This is our suspect. Look closely. Why would someone in a doctor costume be wearing a fancy necklace? That doesn't add up. That's clearly the victim's jewels. The officers have one more favor to ask Linda. At the airport, a guy claims he's from Portugal, but the police need proof he is lying. So they lay out everything from his suitcase. Is there anything here that gives him away? Time's up! Portugal is in Europe, and European passports are dark red, not green. So yeah, he's definitely not telling the truth. Outside in the park, Linda spots a bunch of animals wandering and flying around freely. But wait, one of them isn't actually an animal at all. It's just a prop, like a statue. Can you tell which one is fake? Well, it's daytime, and we all know how rare it is to see an owl out in the sun. That's the fake animal for sure. A worried mom asks Linda for help. She thinks her teenage daughter, Lisa, snuck out last night to go to a friend's birthday party. But the teen insists, "Mom, I swear I stayed home all night." So, is she telling the truth, or is she totally busted? She is lying. Look closely. There's a birthday hat sitting right there on the table. That's proof she did go to the party. Now, the mom wants to unlock Lisa's phone to find out what time she got home. The passcode has 4 digits, and it's the year of her birth. Here's the clue. Linda was born the same year the Olympic Games were held in Beijing. Can you remember when that was? Option C, 2008, is the right answer. Linda notices 3 maids cleaning the upper floor. Then Lisa whispers, "There's a legend that an old maid passed away here, and sometimes she still shows up." Now look closely. Can you tell which one of them is the ghost? Check out the maid making the bed. She doesn't show up in the mirror right next to her. Yep, she's the ghost. Linda gets home and meets her husband, Ben.
Hey!
He's got 3 baseball caps, a blue one for sunny days, a green one for lucky days, and a red one for rainy days. So, which cap should he pick today? Well, check it out. Ben's wearing his rain boots. That means it's raining outside, so he must pick the red one. When Linda walks into her bedroom, she gets a huge shock. When she left the house, her room looked like this, but now it looks like this. Take a look at the 2 pictures. Can you figure out what's gone missing? Her robe and socks are missing. But don't worry. Looks like her husband just borrowed them. Really? Linda cooks up a nice piece of meat for dinner, but before she digs in, she heads to wash her hands. When she comes back, her food is gone. One of her 3 dogs is looking kinda guilty. At the time her dinner disappeared, Toby, the Dalmatian, was playing with a ball in the living room. Bella, the Labrador, was running around outside, and Cooper, the Bulldog, was napping on the couch. But something about their stories doesn't quite add up. So, who took her dinner? Just look at the window and you'll see that it's raining. If Bella the Lab really was running outside, she'd be soaking wet. But her fur is totally dry, so she's the main suspect. Now it's finally time for Linda's night routine. Take a look at all these items and think carefully what definitely shouldn't be used before going to bed. The black tea should be avoided at all costs, as it contains caffeine, and Linda needs to sleep, not be tossing and turning all night. Hey, ready to do some massive rock and rolling with your brain muscles? Let's start anyway. Just kidding. Detective Jenny receives an anonymous report. One of the 3 guests at a local cafe is a thief. Can you help her figure out who? The first guy holds female jewelry, but it could be a gift for his girlfriend because there are 2 cups at his table. Plus, there are security cameras everywhere, so he wouldn't flash the jewelry so openly if it was stolen. The same is true for the 3rd guy with 2 phones. So, the 2nd guy who's hiding cash in his socks is the thief. Oh no! One of the customers just collapsed at a small store. He needs to be taken to the hospital, but the store owner doesn't have a vehicle. Which one of these 3 cars should he try to stop and ask for a lift? The first car is already full. The ambulance has an emergency siren on. It must already have a patient inside who needs urgent help, so it won't stop. So he should try with the police car. They made it to the hospital, but now it's time to choose between the 3 entry gates. The first one is for regular patients. The second leads to the doctor's offices. And the third is for emergency cases. Which one should they choose? The first and second ones are overcrowded, so they should enter the doctor's offices and get help and guidance there. There is this mystery box Sammy needs to open, but the problem is she can't use her hands. She's breaking her head over it and doesn't notice her friend entering the room. She twists her ankle and falls over him. Ouch! He helps her up, and then she knows what to do with the box. Any ideas about what it is? The instructions said not to use her hands, but it didn't say anything about getting help from others. She just asked her friend to open the box. Real estate ads sometimes lie to make you rent an apartment with a secret. Like maybe there was a maniac living there before you. Can you tell if there's one living in any of these apartments? Those photos in the second apartment look really creepy. Maybe the maniac keeps track of his targets in this way. What about these 2 apartments? Again, there's a maniac living in one of them. That axe sure looks like something only a maniac would keep in the house. Whoops! Wendy ended up in some scary room, and the only way out is through a door protected by some extra security logistical password. Wendy needs to choose one of the 4 objects on the screen that doesn't fit in here for some reason. Can you help her out? A plastic straw, a paper cup, and a pack of wet wipes are all single-use items. The ceramic plate is the only non-disposable item here. She needs to press the button number 2 to unlock the lab door. Mrs. Stone is an influential woman and a picky client. She gets really unhappy about her haircut and calls the manager. He asks who did her hair, and she can't tell because the hairdressers are twins, and they both deny doing it. Can you figure out who's to blame? It's this twin on the right. Mrs. Stone's short blue hair is still on her black dress. Someone steals a safe box from a wealthy mansion. All they have is this footage of the thief. A couple of days later, Lena, the heiress, meets the man of her dreams. He wants to find out every little detail about her. She brings him home, and her dad calls the police immediately. Why? The man in the footage has the same tattoo on his arm. He must be so interested in Lena to learn the code for the safe box. It could be some important date for the family. A local TV channel did a piece on a new restaurant that is so great that you can never find an empty table and you have to book weeks ahead. The idea was to bring even more guests in, but after the piece, people stopped going there altogether. Why? They saw this reflection in the wall mirror. These aren't people, but cardboard cutouts. I wouldn't go to a place that lies to customers like this either. At a gala dinner, Jack meets the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. He falls in love immediately, but it turns out she's already married. Can you guess which one of these guys is her spouse? It's this guy here. He's the only one who doesn't have a drink in his hands. And the beautiful girl is holding 2 glasses, one for herself and one for her husband. Sorry, Jack. Nevertheless, he persisted. Jack decides to keep looking and goes on a date with a girl he met online. He clearly wrote that all he wants is someone who's honest with him, even if it's the small things. He asks the girl different questions, and one of them is if she's a natural blonde. Once she answers yes, he says their relationship won't work out. Why? The girl has really dark roots and eyebrows. There's nothing wrong with that, but she just lied. She's not a natural blonde, and Jack can't stand any lies. Meanwhile, Sarah and John are looking for their first house together. Aww. The real estate agent showed them 3 options. The first one has the most beautiful location, and the price is super affordable. The second house is super spacious, and again, the price is really good. The third one looks the least impressive, and the price is the same. What should they choose? They should go for the third house. There's mold in the first one, and the second one has a cockroach problem. Sue wants to get her nails done and chooses a fancy place where they take care of everything. They even take her bag into safe storage so she doesn't have to worry about it. Oops, looks like someone went through it while she was busy. One of her favorite earrings is missing. There are 3 suspects. Who did it? It must be the receptionist. She only has 1 earring, and it matches the second one that's still in storage. Kira went to a big party, and someone stole her wallet. Yikes! Her credit card was inside, but no cash whatsoever. The police were able to narrow it down to 3 suspects. Sam said she was singing karaoke, and everyone could confirm it. Jim said he spent 40 minutes in line for the toilet. Jody said she was loaded and didn't need someone else's credit card. Who's lying here? The only way Jody could know that the wallet only had 1 credit card inside was to actually steal it. It was her. 2 girls are sitting at the same table at a coffee shop. One of them is talking about an article she's working on as a journalist. The second girl is complaining about her boyfriend, who's become really distant lately. Sometimes the answers match, but otherwise it looks like they are just interrupting each other. What's going on here? These 2 girls aren't speaking to each other. They're talking on their phones through wireless headphones. Nate wants to visit the new popular cafe downtown. They work on a first-come, first-served basis, and getting a table is really tricky. But he has enough experience to spot one table that will be free soon. How does he know it? There's a bill and the money already on the table. It means these ladies right here are about to leave, and Nate can grab this table. A famous artist was presenting a new painting. While everyone was looking at it, someone stole her old masterpiece worth millions. The police questioned everyone and narrowed down the suspects to 3 people. Steve is the waiter, and he was busy serving drinks. Mark is a professional musician, and he says he was playing the piano. Natalie says she had to go out to discuss something on the phone, so it wasn't her. Who's the thief? Mark said he was playing the piano, but there are no musical instruments in the exhibition hall. It was him. Diver Dan was scuba diving in the Bermuda Triangle when an underwater portal opened up and took him straight to the shores of a beach back in the 17th century. Walking there, he ran into a huge shipwreck. The ship's ghost appeared before Dan and told him that he would be cursed unless he could figure out the mystery behind his riddle. the ghost showed two different combinations of numbers, 1492, 1609. Now, it was up to Dan to figure out if this was the year of the great sea battles, the years where famous pirates disappeared, or the years where ships sank. Can you help out? The last one is the correct answer. These years are associated with sunken treasures. In 1492, a ship from Columbus's fleet known as Santa Maria sank. Then, the Sea Venture sank in 1609. Dan decided to explore more and found another ship. Inside, he found clay vessels, stone anchors that were long unused, and a figure in the shape of a deity covered in shells. If you had to guess, to which civilization did this boat belong to? The ancient Greeks, the ancient Egyptians, or the Romans? It was probably an ancient Greek merchant ship. The Greeks were great seafarers. Dan found himself on the shore of a deserted island. That's when a mermaid appeared from the water and told him she could help him find a boat of his own to escape the island. Well, he just had to guess which was it that scared sailors while at sea, made girls want to become younger, and was useful in the household. A shark, an empty boat, or a scythe? Can you guess? The correct answer is a scythe. The scythe represents the Grim Reaper, which scares sailors. It also represents time that's running out and is a useful tool in households. Diver Dan arrives on the shores of the Nile River on a ship. He is met by two women dressed in fancy gowns. He knows one of them is Cleopatra, but if he makes the wrong choice, he'll be fed to the crocodiles. If he gets it right, the queen will tell him how to get home. The first woman is a dazzling beauty with perfect facial features. The second has a slightly plump face, large nose, but her gaze is penetrating. Which one of them is the real Cleopatra? The second one. The real Cleopatra was not a classic beauty. On coins and busts, she was depicted with a large nose and rather rough facial features, but she was famous for her sharp mind, charisma, and charm. A few days into the sea on a new boat, Dan was hit by a storm. When he woke up, he was in the middle of a desert. There he found an old wooden ship stuck on the sand. Examining the boat, he found there were seashells and corals between the boards. There was dry seaweed and rust, as if the ship had been underwater for a long time. Judging by what Dan saw, can you guess how the ship ended up in the desert? Well, there used to be a sea here. Many deserts were covered with water millions of years ago, and the dried-up seabeds left behind ships that were buried under the sand. Dan heard rumors of something strange located on the bottom of the ocean. He found what looked like ancient roadblocks, but the blocks were stacked too evenly, as if it were a street of an ancient city. There were remnants of destroyed columns and ancient symbols. If you're a Brightside fan, you'll guess in no time what Dan just ran into. Can you figure it out? He ran into the remnants of a sunken city. One of the most famous examples is Petri in Greece, one of the oldest submerged cities, which is about 5,000 years old. Dan found an old map underwater that led him to a treasure spot. When he opened the treasure, a huge creature emerged from the depths of the ocean. It was a sea serpent. It locked Dan in its tentacles and would only let him leave after solving its riddle. The riddle was a song that said, "She lies in the darkness, where she shines with her eyes on her hands so brightly." What was the sea serpent referencing in its song? An octopus, a conger, or a starfish? The correct answer is starfish. Dan met a mermaid that gave him an important task. He needed to retrieve ancient silver pottery from a sunken city. Scuba diving, he came across 3 different paths. The first path had a shipwreck, and by the looks of it, there were lost parts of wrecks all along the way. The second path looked darker, and it held the entrance to some scary catacombs. The last path was paved with rough stones and ruins of old buildings. Which path should Dan take? Well, the last path. If Dan needs to find ancient silverware from an ancient sunken city, he should take the last path, which will take him directly there. Diver Dan was exploring another wreck when he found a clay vessel with an untouched scroll inside it. He could only make out some of the symbols inside it, since water had stained bits of it. How can Dan decipher the message without ruining the whole thing? Should he dry it in the sun, place it in distilled water and use infrared scanning, or knead it with his hands to remove excess moisture? He could use the technique archaeologists use, which is number 2. They use infrared scanning and distilled water to restore old texts. One day, Diver Dan snuck into a cave where pirates kept their gold. But to open a chest, he had to solve an ancient code cipher carved into the wall. There were 4 numbers on the wall: 5, 8, 13, and 21. The pirates claimed that the next number in the row would open the chest. What number do you think that was? 26, 34, or 30? The correct answer is 34. To figure this one out, you'd need to know the Fibonacci series, where each number is the sum of the 2 previous ones. So 13 plus 21 is 34. Diver Dan spotted 3 old pirate ships, one with red sails, the other with white sails, and the last without any sails. One of them still hides gold, so Dan goes to search for some clues. He finds the captain's logbook with important notes, saying, "The Purple Seagull went to Jamaica and had silver in it. The Sea Ghost once had scarlet sails and ran into a storm. The Dragon Thunder had yellow sails and carried linen in it." On which ship should Dan look for treasure? Well, he should look at the Sea Ghost. The clue was subtle here, but on all the other ships, you were told what the cargo was, except on the Sea Ghost. He should start there. Dan found a gold artifact on the beach. On its surface, a mysterious coordinate was engraved: 2021222324252. Well, what number comes next in the sequence? It's number 6. You should simply add 1 after each 2. Diver Dan discovered an old map that led to a powerful portal that could take him home. The map had 3 X's marked, one near the Mediterranean and one near the Indian Ocean. And can you guess where the last X was pointing to? It was pointing to the Caribbean. That's where Dan was when he was sucked in by the portal. Now, only true movie fans will make it to the end of this quiz, but let's start with an easy one. In The Matrix, Neo has to pick between 2 pills. One that keeps him in his ordinary world, the other reveals the truth. What color pill does he take? A. Green, B. Red, C. Blue, or D. Yellow? If you said B, red, you got it. Audrey Hepburn was iconic in Breakfast at Tiffany's, but she wasn't the first choice for the role. Who was originally considered to play Holly Golightly? A. Marilyn Monroe, B. Elizabeth Taylor, C. Grace Kelly, or D. Twiggy? The answer is A. Marilyn Monroe. Titanic, Lord of the Rings, and Troy. Which movie had the highest number of extras? Time to rank them from the most extras to the least. Ready? Go! Time's up! First place goes to Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, with over 20,000 extras. Next up, Titanic, and then Troy. Pay close attention to the opening scene of Forrest Gump. Something just doesn't feel right. Can you spot it? Look down at those shoes. While they're covered in mud, the laces are completely spotless and shiny. Ooh. Back to the Future was huge in the 80s, but it almost didn't make it to the big screen. The script was rejected over 40 times. Is this true or false? Time's up. Well, that's true. In Jurassic Park, John Hammond invites the team to the island to check out his epic dinosaur park. But what was the name of this fictional island? A. Isla Nublar, B. Isla Perdida, C. Isla Nupar, or D. Isla Nefara? Did I get those pronunciations right? Yeah. Only true fans know that the answer is A. Isla Nublar. Ghostbusters, The Goonies, and Blade Runner, all classic hits from the 80s. Can you put them in the correct chronological order from the oldest to the newest release? First up, Blade Runner from 1982, then Ghostbusters, which came out in 1984, and last, The Goonies in 1985. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't actually draw Kate Winslet in Titanic. Someone else took the pencil. But who? A. A professional artist, B. The director James Cameron, C. Kate Winslet herself, D. Somebody from the camera crew. The answer is letter B. James Cameron did the sketch. Steven Spielberg used 3 specially built animatronic sharks for the movie Jaws, and they were called Bruce. Is this true or false? It's true. The nickname came after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. Oh, yeah, apparently another shark. In Pulp Fiction, John Travolta and Uma Thurman perform a legendary dance scene. But wait, can you remember what song was playing? A. You Can Never Tell, B. Blue Suede Shoes, C. Mambo No. 5, D. Rock This Town. The answer is A. Chuck Berry's song was the perfect choice. Despite Harry Potter's huge success, the saga never won an Oscar. But can you tell how many times it was nominated for the awards? A. 8, B. 12, C. 18, D. 21. The correct answer is letter B, 12 times. Alright, Potterheads, we've got one more for you. During Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first years anxiously waited to be sorted into their houses. But who was the very first student sorted into Gryffindor? A. Hermione, B. Ron, C. Neville, D. Harry Potter. If you said A, Hermione, you're right. Every Marvel fan knows Chris Hemsworth has several Thor hammers at home, but one of them is stored in a very unusual place. Can you guess where? A. On top of the fridge, B. In the trunk of his car, C. In the toolbox, D. In the bathroom. Strangely, the answer is D. He keeps it in the bathroom. Which of these famous movie sagas had the longest gap between two sequels? A. Fast and Furious, B. Alien, C. Indiana Jones, or D. Star Wars? The correct answer is C. Indiana Jones. 19 years passed between The Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The card scene from Love Actually is truly iconic. Question: what was written on the first sign that the guy holds up to Keira Knightley's character? A. Say it's Carol Singers. B. Don't say a word. C. Say it's the neighbor. D. Ho ho ho. Well, if you guessed A, you nailed it. Say it's Carol Singers, and then he silently confesses his love for her. Pierce Brosnan, the guy we all know as James Bond, was actually the first choice to play Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh wait, is this information true or false? If you said false, you got it right. It was actually Tom Selleck who was supposed to be Indiana Jones, but Harrison Ford got the part in the end. In The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the protagonist wears a dress that's a nod to a classic horror movie from the 60s. Can you tell which one it is? A. Psycho, B. Rosemary's Baby, C. Carrie, D. The Exorcist. B is the right answer. This red dress is almost identical to the one Mia Farrow rocked in Rosemary's Baby. The Godfather, La La Land, and The Silence of the Lambs are all big Oscar winners. Can you rank them from the one that won the most awards to the one that won the least? Time's up. Here's the order. La La Land won 6 Oscars, The Silence of the Lambs won 5, and The Godfather won 3. The sentence, "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," traumatized a whole generation when it showed up in one of the most famous horror films. But which one? A. The Thing, B. Friday the 13th, C. Scream, D. The Shining. Option D is correct. Fun fact, this is actually an old proverb from 1659. So, how many questions did you get right? Tell us in the comments.
You were traveling through Egypt, got lost from your group, and ended up in an ancient pyramid. 3 passageways lie before you. The first leads to a room filled with gold. The second is hidden behind a stone slab with an image of the sun. And the third one leads you to a dark tunnel with a chilling breeze. Which pathway leads you to safety? Here's a tip. You should follow the beliefs of ancient Egyptians. You should pick the second path. The Egyptians believed in the power of the sun, so perhaps that's your safest choice. It's your first date with an archaeologist. He takes you to an ancient site and shows you the inscriptions marked on the wall of an old sacred site. You notice there are several numbers on the wall that form a sequence: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. But the other numbers are blurred. He asks you if you can figure out which numbers come next. Can you? The numbers that follow would be 13, 17, 19. This is a sequence of prime numbers, which can only be divided by 1 and themselves. A team of archaeologists discover 2 statues in an ancient city, but after a few studies, they uncover that one is a fake. One of the statues is made of marble, and the other is made of bronze. Both look flawless and untouched by time. Can you tell which one is fake? It's the bronze one. Real ancient bronze statues end up a bit greenish due to oxidation. So if this statue looks brand new, it means it's fake. It's quiz night and the theme is ancient Egypt. To win $100, you need to answer correctly. How many husbands did Cleopatra have during her life? 1, 3, or 4? It's believed she was married 3 times. Her first 2 husbands were her brothers, and the last was the famous Mark Antony. You're walking deep within the desert in Egypt when you come across an ancient building with 3 sand pits in front of it. Each pit contains a half-buried object. The inscriptions on the wall warn you that only the pharaoh's gift will open the door to the temple. You see a golden scarab on the first pit, an ancient staff with the sun emblem on the second, and a stone Ankh tablet on the last one. Which sacred object should you pick? The ancient staff. That's because the golden scarab is a symbol of wealth, but it was often placed in tombs as an offering to the ones who passed away. The Ankh represents life, but sacred stone symbols in tombs were often part of protective magic. Touching them could trigger a curse. The sun plus the staff were symbols of power and authority of the great pharaohs. A time machine takes you back to ancient Rome. When you arrive at the door of an old temple, the guardian of the temple gives you a vase with the equation ix plus xi equals what written on it. It's your task to figure out the result. What's the answer, genius? The answer is XX, or 20 in our language. IX in Roman numerals stands for 9, while XI is 11, so the total sum is 20. You're at your best friend's house. She's a mystic and believes in the power of symbols. She asks for your help to choose the logo of her new company, based on ancient Egyptian beliefs. She asks you if she should pick a star, the moon, or the sun. What do you think she should pick? To have a prosperous business, she should pick the sun. In ancient Egypt, the sun represented the deity Ra. The sun represents vitality, warmth, light, and prosperity. You're doing your master's in ancient Greece, so you take a semester to go abroad and study the culture closely. One night, during a fancy dinner party, a professor challenges you. She makes you choose 1 out of 3 cups. The first cup is labeled with the symbol Psi, and it's a drink used in sacred rituals. The second is O, and it's the drink of rulers and kings. The last is L and contains river water that leads to oblivion. Which cup should you choose to gain more wisdom for your masters? The first one. The Greek letter Psi is a symbol often associated to the psyche, which can probably reveal great things about one's inner world. Your archaeology group decides to explore a long-sealed resting place. When you enter the main chamber, you discover an inscription that says that whoever touches the serpent's sign shall know eternal sleep. What must you avoid touching in this place, explorer? Well, you should never touch the cobra symbol. In ancient Egypt, the cobra was a protector of the pharaoh, but was also associated with some pretty hardcore curses. This term's history test is filled with questions on ancient civilizations. To get an A+, you need to answer this one correctly. Which of the following monuments was built first? The ancient Sphinx, the Tower of Babel, or Machu Picchu? The Great Sphinx of Giza. It dates back to around 2500 BCE. The Tower of Babel is mentioned in ancient texts, but has no confirmed historical date. And Machu Picchu was built much later, around the 15th century CE by the Inca civilization. Your crazy scientist friend let you use his time machine, but it was led by an AI that made you answer a question before using it. It told you that to travel to ancient Egypt, you needed to know which of these things the Egyptians weren't masters of: architecture, mathematics, astronomy, or golf. Can you guess? It's golf, of course. Ancient Egyptians were master builders and mathematicians. They were also readers of the sky, but they hadn't figured out golf yet. You find yourself in Crete for a family vacation. You decide to explore an ancient labyrinth, and you come to an intersection. The first path is marked by a bull's head. The second is carved with a spiraling seashell. And the third leads to an open doorway, but there's smoke coming out of it. Which path should you choose? The second one. In ancient Greece, the civilization of the Minoans revered the sea. The spiral pattern represents life, eternity, and spiritual energy. So I bet that's the way you should go. You were watching a movie with your friends about the Great Sphinx of Giza when you spotted some serious factual mistakes. The movie said that the Sphinx lost its nose after a heavy thunderstorm, but you know that it's not sure. You ask your friends to pick one of the most popular myths regarding the Sphinx's ripped nose, asking them if it was either Napoleon's doing or an angry man's fault. Which of these is the correct answer? One of the biggest myths says it was Napoleon who destroyed the Sphinx's nose. Your favorite barista is feeling funny today and asks you to answer a history buff question. If you had to travel back in time and choose the civilization that built their cities first, who would you choose? The Mayas in Mexico, the Mesopotamians in the Middle East, or the Romans in Europe? Since you're a genius, you said the Mesopotamians. The first city they built was called Eridu, and it was built around 5500 BCE. Your archaeology teacher asks you to go to the public library to find a rare document. You ended up finding an old inscription talking about a ruler named Augustus. Based on his name, do you think he belonged to the Mayan civilization, the Minoans, or the Romans? He belonged to the Romans. Augustus was the first emperor of Rome, genius. Your friend accidentally time travels to an ancient city where people are speaking Latin. To find them and bring them back, you need to figure out where they are. On the top of your mind, you think it can be Athens, Rome, or ancient Babylon. Which city do you look at first? Rome. Latin was the language of the Romans. 3 cats can catch 3 mice in 3 minutes. How long will it take 10 cats to catch 10 mice? The same 3 minutes. No more, no less. There are 100 books on the shelf. To count off 10 of them, you need 10 seconds. How much time will you spend counting off 80 books? Just 20 seconds. You'll need this time to count off 20 books, and the rest will make 80. Smart, right? Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? It's the wind. Now let's get down to some serious stuff. Someone stole the money Michael kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Hannah said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Liam told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, partying all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Liam. He was suspiciously specific about the time. A man came to a jewelry store planning to buy an expensive diamond ring for his wife, but someone stole his wallet right in the store. The manager called the police and asked all the visitors who were inside at the time to stay until the officer's arrival. The police arrived and examined the people attentively. Soon, they knew who had taken the wallet. Can you figure it out too? It's the man in the middle. He has a bandage on his right arm, but it's wrapped over the sleeve of his jacket, not hidden under it like a real bandage would be. Detective Theodore Mitchell worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Theodore's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Theodore had to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? The code was 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. A police officer knocks on the door. A man opens it. The officer informs the man that a plant pot fell out of his window an hour ago and hit a woman on the head. She's not badly hurt, but now the man needs to compensate this woman for the damage. The man lets the officer inside, but argues that the situation can't be true. He claims that his windows were closed an hour ago because he has just returned home. The officer knows that the man is lying. How has he figured it out? The police officer spotted a pan with boiling water in the kitchen. If the man indeed came home just a few minutes ago, the water wouldn't have had enough time to start boiling. 3 men were swimming in the sea. The weather was getting worse, and a coast guard asked them to leave the water. But when they got back to the shore, only 2 of the men had wet hair. Why? The third man was bald. A gust of wind blew a $100 bill out of the hands of a grocery store owner. The money seemed to have vanished into thin air. But in reality, one of the customers must have taken the bill. But no one wanted to admit to stealing the money. The woman was especially indignant and suggested that her bag should be checked. A security guard asked her to follow him to the office, but she refused to go. After that, the guard called the police. Why? The woman was standing on the $100 bill. If she followed the guard, everyone would see the money. A man found himself on an island inhabited by a tribe of savages. The tribespeople locked him in a house with only 2 exits. One of the doors led to freedom, while the other led to demise. Two guards were in the house with him. One of them always told the truth and the other always lied. The man was allowed to ask only one question to one of them. Of course, he didn't know which of them was the honest person and which one was the liar. What question should he ask to find the correct exit and save his life? The question he should ask is, what would your companion say if I asked which door leads to freedom? No matter who he asks, the answer will always be the wrong door. So, he should open the opposite door. It'll lead to freedom. One day, posters were put up in one of Prague's main squares. They read, "Beware of pickpockets." The local police knew that there were indeed many pickpockets in the area, but they actively tore down these posters. Why? There were many tourists in this square. The pickpockets themselves put up these posters. This made their job easier. People who read the announcement would instinctively check their valuables to make sure they were still there. At that moment, the thieves would watch them and figure out exactly where their targets kept their belongings. The police, realizing this trick, tore down the posters to prevent people from unknowingly helping the thieves rob them. Mary lived in a luxurious mansion. One day, she discovered that all her jewelry had mysteriously disappeared. The police arrived at the crime scene and realized that the theft had occurred very recently. They questioned 4 people who were in the house at the time of the incident. The gardener said he'd been tending the flower beds in the garden all morning. His hands were covered in green and brown stains from plants and soil. The builder claimed he'd been working in the yard, repairing the fence. His hands had splinters and small scratches. Mary's niece stated that she had been swimming in the pool all morning. And the maid said she had been cleaning the windows, so she was still wearing silicone gloves. The detective asked everyone to show their hands and immediately realized who was lying. Who is the thief? The niece. If she had really been in the pool all morning, her fingers would have been wrinkled. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. A precious 16th century brooch has been stolen from its glass display case in a museum. The only person who has entered it is the cleaning lady, Mrs. Douglas, who's been working there for 20 years. After examining the crime scene, the detective, who has come to investigate the case, arrests Mrs. Douglas. Why? Mrs. Douglas's habit let her down. After breaking the display case and taking the brooch, she carefully cleaned up the glass shards. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos